Welcome to Week 11 as the playoff push is officially on in JMU. The Dukes out of the Sun Belt in the midst of a 6-game winning streak. Their only loss against top 15 Louisville, and lo and behold, the defense has been elite. The Dukes want to crash the playoff party. And against the Marshall Thundering Herd, the time is now as two rivals separated by just 200 miles reunite once again on a fall-like Saturday in Huntington, West Virginia. ESPN College Football is presented by Tums. And so glad you could join us. So much to talk about today as we kickstart week number 11 with Sam Acho. I'm Roy Philpott. Taylor Davis joins us on the sidelines in just one moment. JMU, Sam, in position for this year's college football playoff.
They're in position, but they need a little bit of help. Might I say style points. They need to win in an impressive fashion. They've been dominant on defense. Offenses look good, but if they want to make that college football playoff, they have to look even more impressive today.
All right, the numbers tell the entire story, especially given what happened last night between Tulane and Memphis. The Dukes currently with the third best odds in terms of percentages, according ESPN Analytics, at 29%, trailing only North Texas and South Florida.
And the reason they're looking good is that Memphis lost, and so we're seeing South Florida be successful. But James Madison, it's their quarterback, Alonzo Barnett. He's getting stronger as the season has gone on. He's getting healthier as well. When he hits you, it hurts in the running game, but also in the passing game. He's extremely efficient as a passer. Not a lot of wasted movement or wasted motion. High cerebral quarterback.
Alonzo Barnett III has been electric. 11 touchdowns in his last 2 games as the Dukes have been on a serious heater to make this run towards the college football playoff. And of course, on the other side of the coin, there is Carlos Del Rio Wilson, our sideline report. Taylor Davis, presented by LinkedIn, has more.
Well, for Carlos Del Rio Wilson, the journey to starting quarterback wasn't exactly a quick one. Stops at both Florida and Syracuse before landing here at Marshall. But he started this season, once again, a backup. It was a few weeks into this season when a fiery challenge from head coach Tony Gibson made Del Rio Wilson the guy, and he hasn't looked back since. I asked his teammates about him. They immediately pointed to his toughness, saying this is a guy that looks for contact. And Roy, against this JMU defense, that toughness is exactly what they'll need to feed off of.
He has been ultra tough and has been incredibly talented with his speed and power on the ground, and they're going to need a lot from number 7 today to have a chance to pull off the upset here at home. Temperatures in the mid-50s. The air is thick, Sam, but no real threat of precipitation. And by the way, just 48 hours from now here in West Virginia, they're expecting snow, so we got the best of Mother Nature so far.
This is football weather. When people talk about football weather and even a football atmosphere, this game means so much to both teams. Marshall's celebrating, trying to find a way to win, but James Madison is knocking on the college football playoff door.
It's what we love to talk about in the month of November. Cristiano Rosa set to kick things away. Xavion Turner-Bradshaw back deep to receive. The Thundering Herd, JMU won the toss and deferred. So the Herd here at home, Joan C. Edwards Stadium will get the football first. 7-1 JMU, 4-4 Marshall, underway in the Sun Belt. And at the goal line, the fair catch results in a touchback. Let's take a look at today's Impact Players, brought to you by Mattress Firm. Sam?
When Marshall's on offense, keep an eye out for number 4, Floyd Lacey. He's an electric receiver that gets the ball in a myriad of ways. Also on defense, when Marshall's on defense, Boogie Trotter, number 1, the leader on the defensive backfield. When JMU's on defense, number 5, Trent Hendrick. He's their linebacker, their captain, their leader. And then when JMU's on offense, the running back, Wayne Knight, another shifty type of back.
We like shifty, we like explosive this time of year, don't we? Dukes, rock solid defensively, the best unit in the Sun Belt. Only loss this year coming at top 15 Louisville, game in which they led in the second half. First down inside zone, and rumbling is Antoine Roberts, coming off a career performance last time out at Coastal Carolina. Trent Hendrick, one of your impact guys, with the tackle.
The strength of this James Madison defense is on the inside, and Hendrick is one of those guys. He's their captain, he's their leader, he's the heartbeat of this defense. And if they want to continue to have the success they've been having, he's got to be a big key.
Del Rio Wilson stops at Florida and Syracuse, as Taylor indicated. flush. Wide open in the flats was Tamarez. Sails high of the intended receiver. Quickly, it's 3rd and long.
Yeah, Del Rio Wilson on the other side. He's physical. Like, as a quarterback, you usually don't describe quarterbacks in that way. When he decides to turn it on, he can beat you. The issue is turnovers. Their last game, he had 4 straight turnovers on 4 straight drives, 3 interceptions, really 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. So that's got to be the key.
And 3rd down has been a struggle this season for the Thundering Herd. JMU, meanwhile, has been elite on the money down. And our first opportunity of the day, and a chance for both sides to make a statement early. Del Rio Wilson open this time. Tamarez, and he fires a strike as this drive begins after a gain of 12 on 3rd and 7.
There was something open to the flat earlier, and we saw Carlos Del Rio Wilson overthrew that ball. There's going to be a lot of flat routes open out by the sideline based off the way the defense likes to play.
Antoine Roberts, Wisconsin transfer, rumbling across the 45. A good pickup. 8 yards on 1st down. Zaire West chopped him down. Ball's already at the 48.
Notice the tempo of Marshall. They don't want to beat you in a hurry. They just want to methodically show who they are. They want to be physical. That's their head coach, Tony Gibson. He says to us and even the media, they want to be a physical, run-first football team. So they don't need to put up 50 points. So they do score a lot. They just want to pound you down.
2nd and short. Shifted back the other way. And Roberts stacked up near the line to gain. Let's see where they spotted a gain of just a yard. And in Weathersby met him at the line. It'll be 3rd and 1.
This is when that physicality comes into play. You talk about it, but you have to be about it. It's 3rd and 1. You know what you want to do. You know who you want to be. James Madison on the other side is expecting run as well. So line of scrimmage is going to be important.
Quarterback power over the left side. He needed to get to midfield. He'll stop right there at the 50 by Weathersby again. And he's going to be spotted about 4 inches shy of the line to gain. Decision time early for Marshall and Tony Gibson.
I think the decision is clear. Based off of what he talked to the team about last week about everyone giving their full effort, they've got to go for this, in my opinion. It's a big-time game, a big-time opportunity. Quarterback sneak.
Marshall, 4th down this season, 5 of 11. Straight ahead, didn't need much. He got it into JMU territory. The drive continues for the Thundering Herd.
So now would be a great time to take a shot, right? We're saying the same things. You've been running it. And I understand the mindset that, well, it could be too early to take a shot, but middle of the field, they call this the alumni zone between the 40s. Usually that's where they have like the best seats in the house. That's where teams like to take shots. So expect a play action, maybe a shot over top.
Hey, big money boosters have been a consistent theme in college football recently with all the coaching changes. Why not? In the alumni zone, take a shot. I love it. The 49, Del Rio Wilson, plenty of time, and incomplete. The slant, Tamarez, DeAndre Tamarez, the Western Carolina transfer with the coverage by Eaglin. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Okay, so they decided not to go with the deep play, which makes sense. This Marshall offense, what they do want to do, they want to set you up. They want to show you one thing over and over and over again, and then show you something different. So the mindset seems to be, we're going to set up our plays. We don't need to take shots just yet. And then come in the 2nd half or 3rd quarter, that's when some of those bigger plays may happen.
On 2nd down, empty backfield. Rio Wilson, the dual threat signal caller, has that pass batted right back in his grill. Xavier Holmes, 3rd and 10.
Thing that's been impressive about James Madison. I know we're talking about both teams, but James Madison, they are extremely effective, put it that way. They fly to the football, they love taking the ball away, and they play with fanatical effort. That's what shows up on tape, and you can see the stats on your screen.
8th in the country in total defense, more importantly in scoring defense. They're not giving up a bunch. Translation, a 6-game winning streak, and in college football playoff contention. 3rd and 10. And they're going to move this one back 5.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty.
So right tackle Christian Richter. Tim Barker, our referee today with this veteran Sun Belt officiating. So from 3rd and 10 to 3rd and 15, a down in which Marshall struggles entering this game. And we'll see if JMU wants to get blitz happy on 3rd and long, Sam.
They don't love to blitz. They love to rush with 4. But in situations like this, I still would be a little bit, I don't want to use the word soft, but try to make the quarterback beat you with his arm.
3rd and 15, Del Rio Wilson the other way, and the pass incomplete, broken up And JMU sniffed that one out from the jump. DJ Barksdale right in front of Floyd Lacey. And it's 4th and long.
I was talking to some of the staff down on the field, the director of football operations for JMU, when he said 32, DJ Barksdale, that's one of our leaders. Without him, we would not be where we are. And so expect 32, DJ Barksdale, to continue to show up on tape.
Carlos Del Rio Wilson on the sideline. Barksdale from South Point High School, Rock Hill, South Carolina, powerhouse in the Palmetto State. Nathan Totten, the punter, nearly had it rejected right off of his foot. And Wayne Knight with a fair catch at the 17 after a punt of 37. Now, Bob Chesney, what a great job he's done leading this Dukes program after the departure of Curt Cignetti to Indiana, and he has picked up right where Cignetti left off, 16-5, now in his 2nd year. And he's got a lot of energy. He has an air about him that is impressive when you meet him for the first time.
He's very different than Curt Cignetti. You talk to some people in the building, they say that Curt Cignetti is more like Nick Saban. Bob Chesney's more like Dabo Swinney. So different styles, but extremely effective. He loves to compete, brings a lot of joy and energy. He has coaching in his blood.
And his dad was a coach, grandfather was a coach, uncle was a football coach. He was born into the profession. Wayne Knight through the left side ahead towards the 20. Gain of 2 on 1st down. Pierre Lewis brought him down. The artificial turf here at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. 2nd and 8 from there. JMU, I mentioned that only loss against Louisville, Sam. Since then, for the month of October, defense hasn't given up a single point in the second half of any of the last 4 games. And then offensively, they've been just as good the last 2 weeks. They've scored more than 110 points. Tunnel screen? I don't think so. Driven backwards is Sanchez, and Jalen Sanchez is going to lose a yard.
Now it's 3rd down. You can see the passion and the energy from this Marshall defense. Even the crowd is starting to get into it. We understand that JMU has been really, really good offensively. Marshall has an opportunity to try and create some momentum early.
Alonzo Barnett, the 3rd, in contention for Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year on 3rd and 9. Four-man pressure for the Herd. Barnett, flush, a stiff arm. A pump fake and out of bounds, and that's it. 3-and-out forced by the Herd defense, and here comes a penalty flag. And wait 1 second as Barnett was pummeled out of bounds. Right there on the Herd sideline, the infraction.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit out of bounds, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
So first, watch Alonzo Barnett with the ability to escape the pocket. JaVale Gilmore has the pressure. There's a stiff arm first, and then he starts to hurdle, and then he gets hit late out of bounds. I don't love that call. That's a player for me on Marshall just trying to give fanatical effort. So I don't love the call there.
Tayshawn Jeter was the last to make contact as Barnett danced out of bounds. The end result, a 1st down. The drive continues. Wayne Knight tried the left side again on that mid-zone through the A-gap. And pummeled backwards after a gain of 2 more.
We talked with head coach Tony Gibson this week, and he said he wants to see his players give their all. And I get it, but on the field, they're trying to live it. So with the energy, the effort you see, you have to be, as a head coach, okay with some of those post-play penalties, because those are penalties that happen where you're just trying to give everything you got.
2nd and 8, Gibson called the film review of their loss against Coastal Carolina gross, which is a word I've never heard a head football coach use. In that kind of moment, Barnett layers it perfectly. That'll be a 1st down. Landon Ellis hauls it in Marshall territory, and a gain of 15.
The efficiency of Alonzo Barnett stands out and shows up. As a passer, he does a great job of knowing where not just the receivers are going to be, but also the defenders are as well. We're supposed to be an underneath defender, and Barnett knows that, and so instead he says, I'm going to layer it right over the top of the defense for a 1st down.
Ellis, a Richmond transfer, junior from Orange, Virginia, his 1st grab. JMU on the move, a keeper, Barnett. This is what he does. 2-yard pickup on 1st down.
I love what you said. This is what he does. But when he does it, man, he finds ways to get to the end zone. You'll see him pull a ball, and all of a sudden, 50 yards later, he's scoring a touchdown. He got an injury last year, and he's getting stronger as the season's going on. So that's been impressive. When he does pull it, usually it's for big plays.
2nd down and 8. A weird schedule for JMU this year. Only one game in the last 20 days before this afternoon. They're well rested, and they have been precise entering the month of November in all aspects of the game. Barnett surveys, caught by Ellis. That's a 1st down in heavy traffic, and powers his way down to the 26. How did he grab that one?
Oh, the dangerous throw. It looked like it was going to be an interception, but Ellis fought for the ball and was able to take it from the defender. I thought it was going to be a pick. I'm saying, okay, Barnett, that may not be the pass that you want to throw. It's going to be a zone. You see 2 guys trying to get it, but Ellis is strong.
After gain of 20, Barnett, end zone, man-to-man coverage, grabbed again. Wisłowski, the touchdown for the Dukes. Braden Wisłowski was able to grab it in traffic. Back-to-back receptions, physical plays by the Dukes wide receivers.
Like, I call them 50-50 balls, but it seems like for JMU it's more 80-20. Not just this pass, but the last one. It's going to be contested, challenge. Daryl Sweeting, number 2, is in coverage. He thinks he can get it, but instead, Wisłowski says, I got this.
I don't know if it's quite a you got Moss, but it's in that genre that we may talk about later on, Sam. 26-yard touchdown grab. JMU on the board first here in Huntington, trying to win their 7th game in a row, and awfully impressive in the start today.
Well, it started off with one contested catch, then another one. Daryl Sweeting wasn't sweet enough. Wisłowski for the tud.
Is the Play for 75 game. It's the 2nd Saturday in November, and that reminds us that it's now been 55 years since 75 members of the Marshall family perished in a plane crash back on November 14th, 1970. returning from a game at East Carolina. Yesterday afternoon, head coach Tony Gibson, the entire team paid their respects at the Spring Hill Cemetery here in Huntington. That rainy, chilly night, 37 players, 6 coaches, trainers, athletic staff, boosters, and flight crew all lost their lives. We remember those today. The Play for 75 game. All 75 names written on the Thundering Herd helmets. An emotional scene yesterday, and it continues on campus and here in Huntington throughout the weekend. Taylor, it has been emotional on the sidelines with the head coach, with this team, and the entire campus at Marshall.
Yeah, Roy, I spoke with several players about the 75 game. Offensive lineman Jalen Slappy, who's played his entire career here at Marshall, put it best. He said, we're playing today for the 75 names that are going down the middle of our helmet. But that entire celebration, remembrance of that day has permeated through everything they've done this entire week. Every player on the team was given a card of a player from that team for them to learn about. It's a player that's played a similar role that they're in now. Truly a different motivation, not just for the team, the entire community rallies around this particular game every year, Roy.
And we talked to those players. It literally gave you goosebumps when Boogie Trotter told us yesterday that he was given the number 40, Larry Sanders, and a card with his information and what he did. And again, all 75 victims of that tragedy represented the center of the helmet today. Play for 75 game, and you hear the stories. I asked the coach, we asked the officials, and the SID, Grant Taylor here at Marshall, how deeply does it resonate with the team 55 years later? And to a man, they all said it still does. And you talk to folks in Huntington, they feel it to this very day, and they remember in this game this afternoon.
Well, it's not just the players, it's also the culture. 1 second, Taylor, because even to that point, it's like Brad Smith, the president of Marshall. He was there. He grew up in the town where the crash happened. He saw it when he was 6 years old. He was at the event last night, Taylor. And so it's everyone from the players to the coach to the leadership.
Wilson pick up the first down. Taylor?
Yeah, guys, I thought that Carlos Del Rio Wilson's conversation with us yesterday in meetings really painted that depiction for a guy that hasn't been here very long, asking, do you really get it? He said, when I got here and I learned about it, it doesn't feel like Marshall's story. It feels like my story.
He certainly has embraced his head coach, Tony Gibson, and the culture here in Huntington. It stops at Syracuse in Florida before arriving in the Sun Belt. Interesting dynamic and relationship between quarterback and head coach. Power look. And this time JMU ready. He'll be stacked up and lose a yard. Del Rio Wilson with Weathersby gaining the TFL.
Well, they've embraced him too. I got a chance to talk with Carlos Del Rio Wilson down on the field before the game, and he was saying how, man, this place feels like family. This is the first place that has really embraced me. He's been at a couple different stops, and it's a two-way street. It's not just coach to player, it's also player to coach.
7-0. Over 6 minutes to go in our first quarter in Huntington. Power look again. Play action. Del Rio Wilson off the slant. Picks up the first down to Floyd Lacey. Well, nice shimmy at the very end. Bought him a couple of more yards. A gain of 16.
Well, that's the play we were talking about. You've been showing this run, pulling the guard, showing the run, pulling the guard. All of a sudden, the safety steps up just a little bit, and that guard's not going to run block. He's going to pass block. And that's what Marshall can do to you. They show you the same looks, even this look, over and over and over again. They have many different plays out of it.
Herd off the loss to Coastal Carolina on the road. Strong finish towards the 42. That was Joshawn Barbie. Stopped by Thomas, a gain of 5. But that loss at Coastal just 8 days ago was a game in which Marshall had a 10-point lead at 27-17 before 4 third-quarter turnovers happened, Sam. 5 in all in the second half, and that erase that advantage quickly.
It feels like they gave the game away. They feel like they gave that game away. It feels like they weren't beat. They said, man, we gave it to them. And so that can have some confidence despite a big-time loss.
Harvey motions out, passes batted down. And Wes, the big Paul on it. It'll be 3rd and 5.
One way to erase that confidence is just by making the plays that are available. Zaire West, number 15, gets a chance to get his paws up on a play. There was a play similar to this last week that was actually ended up being a fumble and just caused an incompletion. So now it's 3rd and 5. You're thinking pass on this if you're JMU. Carlos Del Rio Wilson has a chance to get it out quick or to use his legs.
Duke showing pressure. Here they come. Off the hesitation, a deep ball, man-to-man coverage. And nearly intercepted. Tamarez was the intended receiver. Justin Eaglin was in coverage, and he was right on top of that play.
Yeah, he read it the whole way. It was a double move, and it didn't work. They needed maybe a 3rd move for it to work. So Justin Eaglin knew it was coming the entire way. And you're going to see Tamarez try to stop, slant and go, slug go. Look at him. He's just looking at the ball. Egan just there, just there, just there. And then Tamarez does the best he can do to try and make sure it's not an interception.
JMU defense holds again. Wayne Knight back deep to receive this punt. Nathan Totten. Better protection this go around. End over end. Knight the fair catch at the 5. Punt of 37. JMU gets it back in the midst of a 6-game winning streak on the road here in Huntington.
College football is presented by Tums Fast Heartburn Relief, so you can love food back.
Ah, yes, from Tums to Tudor's Biscuit World, you can only imagine how good it tastes. They welcome you into that fantastic restaurant, Sam, and all smiles, whether you want to go with the cinnamon roll or the fresh biscuits. The deep fried bologna there didn't look too shabby.
Stop tempting me, because I'm probably going there after the game.
Let's do it. 7-0. JMU leading the Herd on the road. Dukes are the favorites out of the group of 5 to reach the college football playoff. There's a lot to unpack there as Wayne Knight gains a couple. What's the pressure like in your mind for a team like JMU that percentage-wise, ESPN analytics, right at 29 to 30% chance of reaching the dance? Don't the players have to feel that at some point?
No, I don't think they feel the pressure. For me, it's more of a confidence. You want to continue to play at your best level. Last week, we talked about how great the defense was. Well, they struggled in the first half of the last 2 games. So the coaches are doing a great job at James Madison of keeping the players focused on their opponent.
Not easy to do in 2025. Jordan Fuller, first touch across the 10. Maybe to the 11. Cam Smith, numeral 0. Stops him after a gain of 4, and it's 3rd down.
Remember last series, Roy, it was a 3-and-out for Marshall. Then there was a penalty, and that created an 8-play, 82-yard touchdown drive for JMU. And so Marshall should be feeling confident with these first 2 series. The only thing that hurt them, the main thing that hurt them before you got mossed, were those penalties.
We need to check with Randy. Of course, that means a little more here in Marshall. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow. Empty backfield for Barnett the 3rd. And a timeout
First
call.
charge, timeout.
By the defense.
Marshall.
As we step aside in Huntington, 3rd and 5. JMU with a touchdown advantage early. Liv-Ma's student section. Only one student section can claim the title of Liv-Ma's student section of the year. Who take home the trophy? this year. Good crowd, great weather. Week 11 underway in college football. 3rd down and 5. The upstart JMU Dukes trying to crash the CFP.
They got to play tight end coverage with this 3rd and 5 situation.
6-man box. Time for Barnett. Off the hezzy, deep into the end zone. He's got to be careful, and he sails it out of bounds. So the Herd forced a 3-and-out on the opening possession for the Dukes, and then a penalty extended the drive. End result was a touchdown, another 3-and-out on possession number 2.
Well, they showed something different. They started off showing like they were in man-to-man, and then they changed to a zone look. That may have confused quarterback Alonzo Barnett and cost him to hold the ball longer than he wanted to. So great job by Marshall defensively disguising their coverage, and now they have an opportunity to earn great field position.
Patrick Ray, JMU punter, 5 yards deep in his own end zone. Lloyd Lacey tracking. Fair catch at the 46. We check in for the first time with Kevin Connors. KC, we can hear the cowbells here in Huntington, all the way from Stark Vegas. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. The month that they claim to remember is here. And a 7-0 lead for JMU. Marshall gets it back after forcing the 3-and-out. Antoine Roberts, we mentioned his career game loss against Coastal Carolina. Sam, how about 134 yards on just 15 carries, transfer from Wisconsin?
Yeah, he had a huge second half. The first play of the second quarter, I believe, on offense, a 59-yard touchdown. So he has an ability to make the big play, but he's more of a pound the ball, wear you down, and then all of a sudden he gets stronger as you're getting more exhausted.
Really the lone bright spot in that win, or that loss rather, against the Chanticleers.
Full start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
The second costly penalty that we've seen from Marshall when they gaining some momentum. Remember that last series, it was a 3rd down at 10, went to 3rd and 15. Now you're in a 2nd and medium, 2nd and 7. An offensive coordinator's dream because you have so many options. But now 2nd and 12, you start leaning towards, how do I get to 3rd and manageable?
It's the second on the right tackle, Christian Richter. There's something to watch there. Tony Gibson talked about needing to play clean today. You've got to be fast and physical. Seen moments of that. Pressure through the A-gap. It's picked up by the Herd. There goes Del Rio Wilson to midfield and hit hard. A short gain makes it 3rd and long. Tyler Brown with authority. That initial contact. A 5-yard gain on 2nd and 12.
Well, that's one way to get back into 3rd and manageable. Now you're in 3rd and 7. And it's not an obvious passing situation, meaning, yes, you could pass it, but the defensive ends aren't in thinking 3rd and 12, I'm just going to go. You can run different plays.
Del Rio Wilson will take off. You mentioned the ground game. Punishing finish towards the line to gain. And that should be enough to move the chains. Sam, you could be an offensive coordinator. I'm picking up on these tendencies the last couple of weeks.
But I don't know if I could be a quarterback, at least like Carlos Del Rio Wilson. When I turn on the tape, there's 2 things I circled. Number 1, he's physical. Number 2, he will run you over. Those are the 2 things that stood out. Carlos Del Rio Wilson sees Trent Hendrick, the leader, and says, hey, I don't care who you are. I'm going to go make a play for my team. And so that's what you hear from his teammates, but also the other team's coaching staff. I asked him on the field before the game, hey, man, what are y'all feeling? He said, man, that quarterback, that dude is a tank.
And it feels like Tony Gibson in year number 1 after coming in from NC State, calling plays for Dave Doran on defense, is willing to run his quarterback more than ever because that has been their most consistent weapon offensively. And now in November, yeah, you want to protect him. You also want to gain first downs and touchdowns.
Well, he may not want to be protected. I mean, you talked to Carlos and Taylor, you talked to him earlier this week. This dude has a high level of confidence.
I also got the impression he low-key loves tackling, which I don't know how you get that in a quarterback, but here we are.
5 straight runs. 3rd down and 7. Del Rio Wilson looking for that back shoulder fade. Here comes the flag. All the way from the 5-yard line.
Pass interference. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So an active drive for Trent Hendrick, middle linebacker, that time against Antoine Roberts on the wheel.
And this ended up working out in their favor, but I don't love the decision. 13, Adrian Norton, right at the 30-yard line, was actually wide open. And so,
Correction, the ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
yes, it ended up working in Marshall's favor, but Carlos Del Rio Wilson has to be able to hit the open target and not hope for a pass interference call.
Now, for a team that's won 6 straight, that's the first penalty against JMU. And now Marshall on the move for the first time towards the red zone, what could be the final play of the quarter. Off the counter, and Roberts shake and bake into the red zone now at the 18. So a quality pickup on first down. And the Herd with momentum to begin our second quarter, which is coming up next here in Huntington, West Virginia.
Welcome back to Huntington. Marshall trailing 7-0. Tony Gibson joins me now. Coach, we've seen the toughness of your quarterback, Del Rio Wilson. How can they capitalize with this field position right here?
Yeah, we have to punch the ball in. We can't settle for field goals right now. They're too good of a football team, so we have to score right here. It's a big drive for us, and we got to be smarter on defense too. You know, we had them off the field, hit out of bounds, so we got to be smart. We got to keep killing ourselves with penalties. So,
thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
First play here in our second quarter, and a little tricky. Antoine Roberts receiving the lateral from Floyd Lacey.
I love that play call, but sometimes it doesn't work the way you think it's going to work, right? They got like 3-4 yards. Like you think touchdowns on plays like that.
Third down and short, using tempo. Roberts through the A gap, and he'll bust his way through. That's enough to move the chain. So Marshall now first down and 10. The 13-yard line.
Antoine Roberts is a physical back, 6'1", 203, redshirt junior from Nashville. He transferred from Wisconsin. Think about that. Wisconsin's known for their running backs. He decided to come here and use some of that size to his advantage.
7 runs, just 1 pass, covering 40 yards so far on this possession. And it's been a lot. Carlos Del Rio Wilson has 8 rushing attempts so far. They'll hand it off to Roberts with a path, a crease, and a touchdown. Third score of the year, and here comes the herd.
It's been about 2-to-1 run to pass for Marshall. They've talked about being physical. They battle you inside, but then they go outside. Look at the vision from Antoine Roberts. He's able to cut that ball right back inside, right off the edge, right off tackle, and then waltz into the end zone.
And you go back to the herd defense, limiting JMU to that 3 and out. They win the battle of field position. And then now Carlos Del Rio Wilson and Antoine Roberts make him pay, as the PAT is no good. Orkin Quinn with his first miss extra points of the season. We'll go back to the studio. Kevin Connors, what do you have? Sam, I would argue season debut after tearing his ACL at linebacker, number 16 for the Thundering Herd. We were told this was a possibility. We'll see if that sparks the Marshall defense even further, as Fuller was stacked up by Gilmore, and there he is. Sam, impossible. You tear your ACL in the spring of 2025, and you're playing football the same season. Not easy, if not impossible to do.
But when you turn on the tape with this guy, like, this guy can go. Jalen Marshall is a physical football player. He attacks people in the line of scrimmage and in the backfield, so he's a person to keep your eye out on.
Rather fitting on a day like today. Play for 75 game. Jalen Marshall at Marshall returns. Second down and long. And Barnett picks up 4. Paul Hudson the third, a tackle. It's 3rd down and long for the Dukes.
So you see they're going to hurry up right now. They're trying to see if they can get Marshall a little bit on their heels and confused. This may be going hurry up on 3rd down to see what they're in, and then you make your own adjustments as the play goes on. See, both teams are substituting. So if the offense subs, the defense has a chance to make their own substitutions. The officials in the middle.
Duke's got to go. Barnett, clean snap. Comeback route is there, and that's enough to move the chains. Sanchez, his second catch, a gain of 9 on 3rd and 7.
Yeah, Cam Smith, the safety, had an opportunity to go and try to make that play, but he hesitated. So that's a good decision by JMU.
Jalen Sanchez, a Villanova transfer. Carter Sweezy just checks out as the starting left guard for the Dukes. Trent Wilson, the freshman, comes in. And a 1-point game after the miss extra points. Play action. Barnett. Crossing pattern is there, the 44. And Logan Kyle, the tight end, going to pick up about 8 yards on 1st down. Cam Smith in coverage with the tackle.
Yeah, James Madison needs to get something going. I understand that they had that first early touchdown after that penalty, but man, they got to speed it up and turn it up just a little bit if they want to be able to get some more momentum. Marshall's moved the ball offensively. Let's see what James Madison can do to try and earn back some of those points and also time of possession.
And you feel like momentum teetering right now after the fast start by JMU, assisted by that penalty. Off the hitch pattern, that's a 1st down and a little bit more into Marshall territory. So Austin with his first reception, Isaiah Austin, and a gain of 14.
And that may have been a called run, but quarterback sees that the DB is about 10 yards off. That's Boogie Trotter, about 10 to 12 yards off. They call that a now pass. Hey, just alter your route. He's 12 yards off of you. I'll throw it to you now. You make a miss. So great decision by Alonzo Barnett, going to probably the 2nd or 3rd play because he trusts his eyes and trusts his receiver.
And we heard so much this week about Barnett and his desire to live in the film room and to understand concepts. Late pitch to Wayne Knight, beautifully executed. And Knight shoved out of bounds near the red zone. Jalen Marshall had the angle, and Knight made him pay. It'll be 1st and 10, a 22-yard gain.
Wayne Knight, you can find him on the edges of defenses. That's where he lives. You see Jalen Marshall's back on the field. He needs to slow down just a little bit. You're not a quarterback player. You have the pitch as well. You're quarterback to pitch. As soon as Wayne Knight gets that ball, there's no one else out there. So with Marshall, Jalen Marshall, number 16 of Marshall, his first game back, he has to slow down just a bit to be able to cause that pitch to be delayed.
Knight in motion. They'll set up the screen, looking for blockers. Won't get him. And lasso down to the 21. Dajuan Smith. I want to go back to the film study and what we heard with Barnett. Dean Kennedy told us Halloween weekend, late in the night, 10:30 last Saturday on November 1st, Barnett was texting him, we need to run this against clip 37 in the coverage I'm seeing. And oftentimes the junior quarterback is telling his coaching staff, this is what we need to add to the game plan next week.
He's taking ownership of not just the offense, but of the team and of the responsibilities. That play that we saw earlier, that now pass, that wasn't even called. That's one thing that he decided to do because he saw the coverage.
And the staff gives him the freedom to do it. The slant and the completion to Landon Ellis. It'll be 1st down and goal inside the 10. So Barnett, another precision pass, a gain of 15, just one incompletion so far now in our 2nd quarter.
People talk a lot about the physical attributes of a football player, but the mental makeup of Alonzo Barnett is what stands out. He's just always calm. He's efficient. That's the word that I kept on going back to when I watched the tape. He's an efficient player. So when he throws it, he's making the right throw. When he runs it, it's the right run.
9 of 10, a perfect 5 for 5 on this drive. Continuing perfection, but not this time. In and out of the midst. Landon Ellis will tell you 99 times out of 100 he's going to catch that.
Well, it needs to be 100 out of 100 because that efficiency story, you can't afford to drop a pass like that. We call that a whip route, a beautifully run route. He stems outside and goes back inside. So you're going to see it. Boom, he goes outside, boom, back inside, wide open. You got to catch that.
2nd and goal. Tenth play of the drive. Knight, the running back, get it to him right away. Knight to the edge. Wayne Knight into the end zone for the JMU touchdown. Redshirt junior out of Delaware. And he is a bowling ball at times, the way he sneaks through the line of scrimmage, but the speed and the ability to find the end zone in that front pylon, Sam.
He's only 5'7", 190, and you see he takes number 2, Daryl Sweeting, for a ride. Wayne Knight, we mentioned earlier, he lives on the edges of defenses. Not the biggest guy, but when he gets out in space, he is a serious problem.
One of 6 finalists nationally to win the Paul Horning Award this year. He lives on the edge, says Sam Ocho, and that's exactly what we like to see right in your kitchen.
Wayne Knight makes a miss, makes a shift, drags him into the end zone for 6.
(14-6) back in Huntington, West Virginia. JMU, the playoff hopeful, an 8-point advantage after scoring on that last possession. It was Wayne Knight with the honors, his 6th touchdown of this season, now entering week 11. Where is the time gone? Bird will get the football back. Xavion Turner Bradshaw. Watch the pigskin sail over his head. And about 9 yards deep. So the Dukes, in terms of ESPN analytics, their opportunity and or percentages, Sam, to reach the college football playoff. With a win today, those odds jump from around 29% to 35%. With a loss, you see how devastating that would be. Essentially, no chance. So it's must win from here on out for the Dukes.
And it's not just winning, it's how they win. They need to win in an impressive fashion because you're not just going against the best Sun Belt team, it's the 5 best conference champions. And so 5 highest ranked conference champions. So if they do win the Sun Belt, they're looking at teams like South Florida or Tulane for that opportunity.
Juan Roberts tests the left edge. Don't forget, coming up Tuesday night on ESPN, the all-new ESPN app, iteration number 2, will have the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese Davis and the guys will break them all down from top to bottom. Coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Mack Rhoades, the Baylor AD. Heard utilizing tempo, and Del Rio Wilson's pass is batted down. Elijah Culp able to do that. Taylor, what did the team say this week about the playoff pressure in Harrisonburg?
Yeah, Roy, I had to ask them, were y'all watching Tuesday night? Are you listening to these odds? They said absolutely not. They said the worst thing that we can do right now is take our eye off what's happening right in front of us. They pointed to the reality that similar conversations were happening for them last year, and they ended up dropping their last 2 games, one of which was this game to Marshall. Alonzo Barnett gave me the analogy of a stairwell. He said if you've got to climb 500 steps, the worst thing you can do is be looking at the top the whole time. Climb one at a time. A real concerted effort to block it out as much as they can, Roy.
Yeah, I learned a little bit there just hearing that phrase. That's something I'm going to adopt. Sam.
I told him the same thing.
When are you climbing 500 steps? When are we doing that?
I just did that because the elevator broke a few minutes ago as we tried to get to the top of the press box.
Felt like 500.
I guarantee you it was 500. 6 stories up. Good question by you. After the 3-and-out force by the JMU defense, Dukes will get it back. Wayne Knight calls for the fair catch. Took all of 33 seconds after a punt of 38. I'm counting the steps. I've got it tracked. We're at 2,000. Before the Niners take on the Rams, inside how George Kittle pays tribute to veterans. Plus, Patriots quarterback Drake May goes one-on-one with Jeff Darlington, and special Veterans Day edition of You Got Moss, Sunday NFL Countdown 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. And of course, here in Huntington, it's where a noun became a verb. The great Randy Moss, the mid-1990s, the vintage uniforms, and something about old number 88. Looking outstanding, dominating at that level in the FCS ranks at the time.
It never gets old, Roy. Just seeing him moss people, seeing Randy Moss people. And then what also never gets old is him just putting that one hand up. Like he's even. If he's even, he's leaving one hand up. Just throw it to him. Randy's down there somewhere.
And it's must-see TV that you got Moss, because we may have had that already twice in this game. That first touchdown drive by the Dukes.
I remember being a kid and playing on the playground at school, and it's like, oh, you got mossed, I mossed you. And I was a taller kid, so I felt like I could moss some people myself. Then I met Randy, and now I'm at Marshall. It's kind of coming full circle.
Feel-good moment for Sam Acho. I think you got mossed just about anybody. Former Texas linebacker, 9 years in the NFL. Alonzo Barnett retreating. Now has a man open near the 25. Contact, there's the flag. Well, open was DeGeneiro, and the contact was easy to spot from Daquan Smith.
Pass interference, defense, number 17, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, first of all, Alonzo Barnett has pressure in his face by Jalen Parker. He's still able to get that pass off. Parker's spying, but he decided to go and get him. And then Nick DeGeneiro, he's been behind defenses the last 2 weeks. He's had big plays over the last several games, and that's just a simple mistake. A mistake on the defense by Daquan Smith.
Also important to point out, Alonzo Barnett III got popped on that pass. Jalen Parker crashing in. And this game means a little bit more to him. He tore his ACL late in the contest against Marshall last year, Taylor, and that's a story that he often reflects on.
Absolutely, Roy. It was actually the last offensive play of double overtime in this game last year. He actually told me this week he felt like his kneecap had just shifted a little bit. So he walked to the sideline on his own accord, told me he had every intention of returning to the field if there was triple overtime. But after the game was evaluated and notified that his ACL was in fact torn, he had minimal swelling, so he had surgery quickly, returned to the game 9 months to the day. Just a testament to the toughness of the player that he is.
Yeah, we didn't see him in spring practice in Harrisonburg, but certainly he's been dynamic in his return to the field. Wisłowski, pass incomplete. It'll be second down and 10.
To your point, Taylor, you're seeing the growth on tape. Like, he's a big-time runner, but he hasn't been running it as much. But now these last several weeks, as he runs it, it's not just 5-yard gains, it's 50-yard gains. It's not just 8-yard runs, it's 80-yard runs. And so he's recovering more from that injury.
It's a great point, and he told me it actually challenged him more mentally than it did physically because of that, knowing the run game is such a huge piece of his game.
22nd career start for the Dukes, and Alonzo Barnett III today, 16-5 as a starter coming in. And Barnett heaves one, front pylon, and incomplete, out of bounds. Cam Smith in coverage. Braden Wisłowski again. It'll be third down and 10.
Seems as if James Madison is challenging the corners and the defensive backfield of Marshall. They don't believe that that's a strong suit of that team, and there's been some changes on the back end. We've seen Boogie Knight been a big-time problem number one, but everyone else has struggled on that back end.
Dukes 1 of 2 on third so far. In field goal range, Barnett love to get a touchdown here. And a similar play out of bounds and incomplete. Landon Ellis nearly sat down to grab it. The coverage by Jeter. It'll be fourth and long.
Yeah, Jeter getting his head around, was able to keep himself from getting that penalty. That's a great job staying patient. You don't need to panic when the ball's up in the air as a defensive back. Stay patient, know the ball's up in the air, get your head around, and you're allowed to play the ball as well.
So the Dukes set to attempt a 49-yard field goal straight away from Morgan Suarez. 4 of 7 this season, his long of just 39 yards in the win at Liberty way back in week 3. Oh, Suarez feels like it's in his range, and on the way it comes up short. Well, the long distance kicker, Cristiano Rosa, is good from all the way back towards 60 yards. Suarez was accurate but short for head coach Bob Chesney. And the Herd get a stop, trailing by 8. It got underneath it, Sam, by about an inch or so. Going to be an upset or two potentially like that at some point this month, but that certainly would send shockwaves around the college football universe if Penn State found a way in Happy Valley. Back here in Huntington, jet sweep Floyd Lacey, plenty of speed on the move, tripped up in plus territory, and a gain of 24.
Floyd Lacey is a player where you say I have to get him like a minimum level of touches, whether it's on a jet sweep or a deep ball or a screen. He's such a dynamic playmaker. Notice his patience and his vision to be able to cut the ball upfield and set up blockers.
Handoff, Justin Williams-Thomas will pick up the first down. And now all of a sudden, yardage coming in chunks. Give him 12 more, and the Herd on the move.
And now they're hurrying up. The Herd is speeding up.
Marshall already over 100 yards rushing and looking for more to the 30. Williams-Thomas, a couple of stops in the SEC and the ACC at Tennessee and Cal. And the redshirt junior out of Dallas, Georgia, picks up 5 more here.
This is what happens as the game starts to settle down a bit. The first quarter or so, you're just trying to figure out what the defense is going to do or what an offense is going to do. Now you know. And so you're seeing Marshall attack the outsides. What James Madison needs to do is to be stronger and stouter on the edges of their defense.
Roberts more of a one-cut runner. He'll fake it to him, try to send it to him. He snuck out of the backfield. Sam, that should have been a touchdown, but the pressure by Weathersby disrupted that play.
And that's a second pressure by Gannon Weathersby, number 3. He has 7 tackles on the day and 2 quarterback pressures. But even despite the pressure, this still should have been a touchdown. Carlos Del Rio Wilson has to be a little bit more patient, get that ball a little bit higher, because he had Antoine Roberts wide open. He could have walked into the end zone.
Not a defender in sight between Roberts and the goal line. And instead of 6 on the board, it's 3rd and 5. Del Rio Wilson dragged down from behind. He's going to lose a yard. Jacob Thomas snipped it out.
Hey, that was a tackle for loss, a great play by James Madison. But watch out, because James Madison is attacking the football. That's what I saw. If you watch Jacob Thomas, he doesn't just get the sack or the tackle because it ends up being a run. He's trying to strip that ball out. It's important because there were 4 turnovers last week by Carlos Del Rio Wilson. One of them was a play just like that. He was sit up in the pocket, and the ball almost got stripped out. So keep an eye on that football if you're JMU.
Keep an eye on the kicker, Ireland's finest, Orkin Quinn. Plenty of leg strength, and he bangs that one home to make it 14-9. Oh, so close to becoming Ireland's kicking king. And now his 15th field goal across the pond in the States. He's got a story to tell as a former construction worker in Ireland and now an American footballer as a place kicker, as we take a look at our player spotlight. Brought to you by Tecobas, and there he is, young Lorcan Quinn in Northern Ireland, laying fiber optic cable just 1 year ago, Sam, and now the former Gaelic football player kicks the American pigskin here in the States.
He's so dialed in. I saw him on the field before the game, and I said, Lorcan. He didn't respond. Apparently, it's pronounced Larkin. So I should have said Larkin. But man, this dude he just has a different type of mindset to be laying down cable and playing Gaelic football and have an opportunity to come to America. And now he's at Marshall.
And Quinn sends it out of the end zone. Taylor, quite a story. We enjoyed getting to know him yesterday, didn't we?
Really did, and I was so interested to hear the differences of the kicking. He talked about the different shape of the ball, obviously pointed out people aren't typically rushing at me while this happens, but I loved hearing Coach Gibson explain some of the early scrimmages of fall camp. Keep in mind, first time he ever put on a football helmet was August 2nd of this year, but the first time they did a situational, ran him out for a kick, he missed it, showed no emotion, really realized for the coaches he didn't quite get the situationals. Well, right after that, they trotted him back out there. He nailed a 60-yarder. The team celebrated. He told us yesterday, that was the moment. It really settled in for me what this is all about.
His girlfriend was able to come over to Coastal Carolina and watch him in person in the Herds previous game. All he did was drill a 55-yarder with ease. Dukes get it back. Wayne Knight over the right edge to the 29. You did the accent perfectly there too, Sam. You've been working on that.
I actually haven't. I was just frustrated because I saw him. I said Lorcan, and he didn't turn around. And then upstairs we heard, no, phonetically it's Larkin from Ireland.
Amazing. You are amazing.
I asked him how often his teammates are trying the accent. He said not anymore because they're terrible.
If I see him again, when I see him again, he's going to know.
Yes, he is. 2nd and 6. Dukes leading by 5. Thinking about the college football playoff. Wayne Knight in the backfield and corralled at the line. Sid Kaba met him quickly. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd down.
It's a critical drive for both teams. Why? Because Marshall has found ways to stop JMU at least early in drives. JMU, on the other hand, if they are able to convert this 1st down, you can run out the rest of the clock and try and get points before the end of half.
Crowd on his feet, 3rd and 6. Barnett across the middle. How about the grab by Knight? He had to leap up to make it the 5'7" frame. He needed every single inch and a gain of 14.
So Marshall's going to bring pressure. The 2 inside linebackers are going to blitz. And what Alonzo Barnett sees is he sees that pressure. Watch those linebackers blitz. It's a voided space right in the middle of the field. And that's where Wayne Knight finds himself. So that's what we call replacing the pressure. Where they blitz, you throw it right where they left.
You don't want to replace his hands. His 26th catch of the season. Ultra soft and ultra smooth. Play action again. Barnett sensing and delivering low for Landon Ellis. Here comes a flag.
You see the efficiency that we talked about? I understand that wasn't the best throw, but he just finds things.
Holding. Defense. 10-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
People talk a lot about taking what the defense gives you. Like, the defense isn't giving him anything, but he's finding weaknesses or finding soft spots in their defense. So Alonzo Barnett, you're going to see right there, that should be Cam Smith with the hold, but he just escapes the pocket, avoids the pressure. I don't love the pass. He needs to be more accurate, but he's very efficient as a player.
First snap of the game for George Pettaway. And he will flank Barnett the third. He fakes it his way. Stutter steps across the line of scrimmage. Good gain on first down for the Dukes. Gilmore chopped him down. It's a pickup of 4 yards.
We talked about that first down. Well, they did end up getting that first down. The problem for Marshall is that James Madison receives the second half kickoff. So they have a 5-point lead right now. They're going to run down this clock. They're going to try to score, and then they'll get the ball back. So Marshall, on their end, they need to stop James Madison. They can take their sweet time.
You know, in basketball, we call that a 2-for-1. Contact. And Katron Evans drifting across the line early, knocked back Greenberg.
Offside. Defense, number 55 with contact. 5-yard penalty, second down.
2:05 to go in the half.
Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 7 seconds. 2:07 on the game clock, please.
Katron Evans, one of the leaders of the team, captain, 6'3", 336. They said number 55.
2:07 on the game clock, please.
He's just number 5, but he's a big human, so maybe they want to give him an extra number. But you can't make mistakes like that can be costly in situations like these.
So after the infraction, second down and 1, Dukes take their time and allow the clock to run down to the 2-minute timeout.
Timeout.
JMU, 3 timeouts to work with and a 5-point advantage at the end of the first half. KC, the puns are flying here to start week number 11. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis, Huntington, West Virginia. And JMU on the move with a 5-point lead, a couple of touchdown drives to start this game. Inside give to Wayne Knight, upended at the 30. Dukes with all 3 timeouts remaining, and they are set to receive the second half kickoff. And Sam, they would love to extend this advantage to 2 scores if possible at the end of the first.
But they want touchdowns when they get to the red zone, not field goals.
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 55 seconds. 1 minute and 55 seconds. It will start on the ready for play signal.
We talked with Dean Kennedy, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, and he said, you know, in the media, y'all think just scoring is okay. Field goals in the red zone. No, we want touchdowns. Last week, we were 7 for 7 in the red zone, 7 touchdowns. The week before, 6 for 7 in the red zone. So they're not thinking 3, they're thinking 7.
Dean Kennedy, the offensive play caller for JMU, understudy of Dan Mullen at Florida during his time there. Seam route incomplete. Sanchez coverage was ample. Dan Mullen, a big influence of Dean Kennedy, and Kennedy's impact on Barnett after he got squished on that last drive, or that last pass by Alameen.
And he did, but there was a little bit of an ability for him to escape the pocket if he wanted to. There was no edge on the defense, so Barnett had to get that ball out quick because of the pressure by Alameen. But if he sees that they're going to do a 3-man rush, he can escape to his right out of the pocket and either run or extend in the play.
97 seconds remaining in the half. Plenty of time. Barnett plants, cuts, and goes. Alonzo Barnett, the third. Out of bounds at the 20. Close to another first down for the Dukes.
So that was that 3-man rush that we talked about. What Marshall needs to do, if they're only going to rush 3, it's a benefit because you're dropping 8. But the problem is you have to be able to get contained. You have to be able to not all rush on the inside, because if you do that, the quarterback's going to see, oh, wow, there's nobody out there. And so it's going to run to where nobody is. So now it's a critical 3rd down, 3rd and 1. I think running for JMU is a good idea. Handoff on the inside.
Offset diamond formation with Fuller deepest in the backfield. And it's Fuller over the right side. On 3rd and 1, he'll pick up 2. And a first down for JMU.
Still in no hurry if you're James Madison.
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 24 seconds. The clock stops on a first down inbounds under 2 minutes.
So any plays you want to call are available here. That's on James Madison. Marshall, this is the most important drive so far of the half. If you hold JMU to a field goal, it's a 1-score game. You give up a touchdown, then they get the ball back to start, it's going to be a major problem.
Timekeeper here in Huntington has not been stopping the clock to give the chain gang enough time to set up after the first down carry. And so that's why you hear the constant communication. Into the flats, Wayne Knight. A shimmy, a shake, a first down. Wayne Knight still on his feet all the way to the 1-yard line. What a weapon, number 3 for JMU.
And what a problem. Number 1, Boogie Trotter, the leader of the defense, didn't make the tackle. It's almost like they don't want to tackle him. Or maybe he's just so small, he's 5'7", maybe he's hard to see. But Wayne Knight is making the defense look silly. Boogie Trotter had the miss. There was other defenders outside of Boogie that had missed tackles. So Wayne Knight is finding ways on the offensive side of the ball just to make people look silly.
And a 2-minute drive to perfection so far for the Dukes, with time winding down, 1st and goal. And Jordan Fuller with Barnett in the backfield in no hurry whatsoever. Fuller into a pile at the goal line. And the indication is there for the touchdown. Well, it took a moment. It did not matter. And the Dukes back into the end zone again. It's Jordan Fuller, the Holy Cross transfer from a yard out.
Jordan Fuller, 5'11", 299. But he needed a little bit of help on that one. he needed a little bit of a tush push that he received later on at the end of that play.
Are you in favor of the tush push? Do you believe that that should be allowed?
I do. I just think defenses have to be better at stopping it. I'm a traditionalist. Don't ban plays, just get better at stopping plays.
Now that drive put in motion The great Wayne Knight. Now, Wayne Knight, a former special teams player, went into the transfer portal, and Bob Chesney and the new coaching staff had to talk to him. We want to bring you back. We want to make you a featured running back, and lo and behold, that's exactly what he's turned out to be.
We said you will find him on the edges. He's in the backfield first. They fake it to him, and look at Alonzo Barnett. He sees nothing's open downfield, get it to him, and watch him. He could go out of bounds. He doesn't. He makes two guys miss and nearly gets into the end zone, and another, and another. Then follow that up by running back Jordan Fuller, number 23, 299. But watch Alonzo Barnett, 14, say, let me help you just a little bit to get that first down.
Number 15 is reporting as number 48. Number 15 for Marshall is reporting as number 48.
No, you see JMU eat up basically the final 5 minutes of the half. A drive that ends in a touchdown. And Marshall with just 28 seconds to work with and 2 timeouts. As the Dukes through the air. Their precise ways, not committing a lot of mistakes, turnovers, and penalties. It's a team that just methodically goes about its business in a very workmanlike approach, and all they do, well, they've won 6 straight, looking for 7.
They're doing it. Offense, defense, and special teams.
From the 10, Turner Bradshaw will escape to the 40 and the 45 before he's shoved out of bounds there. So Marshall still with a chance at the end of the half, and 21 seconds to work with the 2 timeouts.
Major chance. So you have 2 timeouts. You're right around midfield. The entire playbook is open, but time is of the essence. You want to try to get out of bounds. Sure, you also want to get first downs, but you're thinking chunk play to try to get into the end zone. But how did you get there? Start with Turner Bradshaw. It's a short kick. He runs up to the ball, and all the blockers in front of him, they do a great job of staying together. And so look at the eyes of Turner Bradshaw, makes people miss, and gets about a 34 or 40-yard return.
Virginia Tech transfer his dad, the great Ahmad Bradshaw, won 2 Super Bowl titles with the Giants. And now on first down, Rio Wilson, Floyd Lacey into JMU territory. Gain of 8.
Second charge timeout. Marshall, please reset the game clock to 16 seconds. 16 seconds on the game clock, please.
The Herd with 1 timeout remaining. Don't forget, coming up 3:30 Eastern on ABC, the all-new ESPN app. Undefeated Texas A&M fades Faurot Field in Como, Columbia, Missouri. Battle the Missouri Tigers. Then in primetime tonight, LSU and Alabama. Crimson Tide in the top 5. Primetime ABC, the place to be. And for Eli Drinkwitz and Missouri, the Tigers are trying to fight, scratch, and claw their way into the college football playoff by closing out strong. And their schedule, well, not a walk in the park, but dare we say, Sam, that is semi-doable if you find a way to win a game today.
Here's the issue, though. They're playing with a freshman quarterback in Matt Zollers. Remember, Bo Pribula got injured last week. His leg is hurt, so a redshirt freshman going against that defense is going to be tough.
Del Rio Wilson will pick up the first down. He took what the defense gave him. Toby Payne will move the chains. 11 seconds to go.
So now you have about 2 plays in your mind. You're trying to get, at this point, you may not be thinking touchdown because of time. You want to get in field goal range.
Field goal range certainly possible with Quinn as the kicker. You saw his leg strength on the 49-yarder earlier in the half. This play counts as best we can tell. Toby Payne, another grab to the 35, and let's see. A lot of shifting up front at the line of scrimmage. Mentioned Quinn in his 55-yarder the last game at Coastal.
Offside. Defense, number 23.
Do you take the penalty yardage and save the clock here? Do you take the play? Put you automatically in Quinn's range.
The penalty will be declined. It's second down.
I'll take the yardage on this one.
The game clock will start on the snap.
So defense jumped, but to me it looked like they were able to get back in time before that ball was snapped. But either way, it's a positive play for Marshall, and now they are in Larkin's range.
Mr. Quinn, as I like to say. Hit one from 55. Coach Tony Gibson.
First charge timeout. James Madison.
Told us yesterday they trust him all the way back to 60, if not further, depending on what the wind is doing. And he has drilled some kicks into the teeth of a breeze this year from as far away as 50. We mentioned the 55-yarder. This attempt, if they decide to kick it right here and now, Sam, would be from 53 for Lorcan Quinn.
Larkin Quinn, let's just get it set. But also, there is a little bit of a breeze into the face of the kicker. So it's not much, but there is a little bit of a breeze. And so you are in range. He had a 55-yarder, 52-yarder, but also he had a 62-yarder in practice. So right now, I think this is pretty good field goal range for Mr. Quinn.
7 seconds to go. Marshall out of timeouts. They have one more. So they clocked it quickly. And the last thing that Carlos Del Rio Wilson wants here is to take a sack. Got to operate with a little bit of urgency, and he does. It's out of bounds. Floyd Lacey. And it's Quinn time again. Now the 24-year-old freshman from Ireland came up short in a national kicking competition. Wanted to be named Ireland's kicking king. And instead he was discovered, scouted, and now in the States. 15 of 19 this season. And a career long of 55 this attempt. We'll call it 52. Quinn on the way. Hooks it in beautifully. The power, the precision, Ireland's finest. He gets it done again.
Well, he lost that competition back in Ireland. The goal, the prize was to be able to get tickets to an American football game, professional game, but now he's living it. Larkin Quinn with the kick.
21-12, our score at the break. Let's send you to the Voya halftime report. Kevin Connors, Trevor Maddich. Gentlemen. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Tums. The start of our second half in Huntington. JMU and Marshall in the Sun Belt Conference. Dukes have won 6 in a row in contention for the college football playoff. A late surge by the Herd, and Marshall in position to begin our third quarter as we take a look at our first half stats. Brought to you by Tums and Alonzo Barnett, Wayne Knight getting the job done early for the Dukes.
They've been explosive offensively, and Marshall's been able to sustain drives, but it's been Barnett with his arm specifically finding weak points in that Marshall defense.
Duke set to receive the football in our third quarter, but defensively, this is a team throughout the entire month of October that has pitched a shutout in the second half in 4 straight games. Nearly impossible to do at any level. And for Bob Chesney's team, that's exactly what they have accomplished. Quinn sends it 5 yards deep. Dukes will get it at the 25. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis joining you today from Huntington. And for JMU, an impressive start. They have found ways to get the job done. Late surge by Marshall there at the end of the half. They're in position.
And they did that because what we call Sam's special sauce. Special teams is what got Marshall those last 3 points. They got a big-time kickoff return that you're going to see. They cook up the special sauce, the special teams. And that's Xavier Turner Bradshaw, the son of the 2-time Super Bowl champion Ahmad Bradshaw, who went to Marshall. Nearly a 50-yard return with about 20 seconds left. And then Larkin Quinn gets a 52-yard field goal to steal 3 points at the end of the half.
1st and 10, 21-12. Wayne Knight, a little real estate in front of him, making a lot more. Knight inbounds all the way into Marshall territory. Wayne Knight with that secondary burst, give him 30 yards on the first play from scrimmage in our third quarter.
He lives on the edge, and not just in the first half. Really, the second half is what stood out the most. You're going to see him just be so patient, and then just use his speed. That ball's supposed to cut back inside, but he has the speed, the 5'7" running back to be able to get to the edges. What James Madison has done a great job of these last 2 weeks specifically is scoring early in the third quarter, but also their defense has taken the ball away. So they do a great job getting momentum out of halftime.
You saw the numbers on Knight so far. Through the air, on the ground again. He is one of the top backs in America. A finalist for the Paul Hornung Award, recognizing the nation's best all-purpose player. One of just 6 finalists for that trophy. And a 5-yard gain on first down and a breather for number 3 for the Dukes.
I go back to his size. He's 5'7", 190. If he was a little bit taller, you might say, oh, he'd be at a bigger program. But despite his size or his weight, he's putting his heart on full display. Anytime he touches the ball, not only is he getting positive plays, but it's big gains for his offense.
Jordan Fuller joining Barnett the third in the backfield. And tussled down crossing the 40 by Parker. A third down and short, a 1-yard gain. Now the Dukes in the midst of this winning streak, their only loss coming on the road at Louisville way back in week 2. They have pummeled the opposition in the second half, led by the defense. The offense hasn't been too shabby itself. Dukes need 4 here to keep this drive going.
Looking at the sideline, trying to get the right play in.
7 in the box. Here they come. Barnett, stiff arm. Barnett to the perimeter. Let's see where they mark him out. It will be enough to move the chains. Alonzo Barnett the third. Not a lot of real estate there, but he made the most out of little.
And little, but there's a big dude in his face. Jaleel Rivera Harvey gets through on the inside, and Barnett just stiff arms him. That's one of the most demoralizing feelings you'll ever experience. I remember playing against A&M, and one of their running backs stiff-armed me, and I've just felt like a nobody. I felt like nothing. And Alonzo Barnett, he's efficient over and over and again. If the play's going to be negative, he makes it positive. That's what makes him different.
And Marshall has not been the most fundamentally sound tackling team so far today against the Dukes. Floated long, that's a buzz, and it's incomplete. DeGennaro should have caught a touchdown. The pass was somewhat behind him. He tried to corral it with one hand, and Sammy could not do it.
You can see Barnett is a little bit frustrated, but I think he's frustrated at himself. DeGennaro was wide open. There was a big-time bust on the back end, and Barnett throws it behind him. It's hard to try and contort your body, and I love to say, yeah, try and get 2 hands back there. But you're running one way, the ball's the opposite way, so I don't really blame DeGennaro on this one. I feel like Barnett could have led him a little bit more.
Alonzo could not believe it. 2nd down and 10. Back to the well. Wayne Knight, and this time the edge was set beautifully. Boogie Trotter, all 5'7" of them, shoved them out of bounds. That's going to be a TFL.
And now you reset. If you're Marshall, you're thinking, okay, we could have just given up a touchdown. James Madison saying, man, we could have just scored a touchdown. But right now, all that has been erased. It doesn't matter. It's 3rd down. James Madison needs to try and get a few more yards to get a more comfortable field goal, whereas Marshall, they haven't brought any pressure so far. It doesn't look as if they're bringing it just yet.
Opening possession of the second half. 9-point lead for the Dukes. 3rd down and long. Barnett with time, floats it deep. Man-to-man coverage, a little hand fighting, and incomplete. Jeter with the coverage on DeGennaro. It'll be 4th and 13.
So I can understand where James Madison is going with this. They say we like our matchups. DeGennaro's our guy. He's played huge the last few weeks. But man, Tashawn Jeter is just stepping up in an increased role. Last week it was Marvin Myers who had a lot of the opportunity. Well, Marvin Myers isn't on the field right now. And so now it looks like they're keeping their offense on for 4th and 13. I do not like this call.
Morgan Suarez missed a 49-yarder short at the end of the first half. Bob Chesney not trusting his place kicking.
Look at the time.
With the play clock expiring.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
See, I don't know if that was intentional. Sometimes teams will intentionally try to have a delay of game to get a better field goal. But it seems as if Coach Chesney was thinking, man, we got to go for this because we don't have a better option. And so maybe the delayed decision-making is what kept James Madison from getting a play call in. And now you go to option B, option 2, which is just to punt the ball.
Well, option 1A could have been Cristiano Rosa, the long-distance kicker. Bob Chesney told us late last night that he trusted him as far away as 57 yards. We haven't seen him really in that capacity this season, however. And the Dukes will try to stop it inside the 2. Initial indication is that they did. And a punt of 41 yards.
Talk about special teams. This is a game of field position. Daryl Sweeting bats it back. Ball down at the 1-yard line.
In Huntington, Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis, a 41-yard punt moments ago down inside the 1-yard line. Sam, this is very close to crossing the plane.
It's a game of millimeters. In my eyes, this looks like it crossed the plane. You're going to see number 2, Jaden Mines, tap it back, and then number 23, Ken Willis, get that ball, dive, full effort. It looks to me like it barely crosses, but that shot isn't all the way down the line. So what we were told is that it wasn't clear and obvious.
The ball was illegally touched at the 2-yard line prior to being down at the half-yard line. It's first down at the 2.
So replay reviewing that sequence, and our replay official, Dane Bayag, indisputable video evidence did not exist to be able to overturn the call on the field of it not being a touchback. But I'm with you. There was a fiber of the pigskin that perhaps grazed the outer portion of the goal line.
But still at this point, it's huge field position benefit for James Madison. The ball's inside, backed up.
Hurd have it. Through the line goes Antoine Roberts. Roberts tripped up crossing the 30, or that may have gone the distance. Tyler Brown able to grab a shoestring at the last moment.
How do you get out of a backed up situation? Just take about 32 yards by your running back. Look at number 44, just find the hole. The offensive line has done an outstanding job of creating holes for Antoine Roberts.
71 rush yards after a gain of 31. That is Marshall's longest play of the afternoon. Del Rio Wilson keeps it. And upended short of the 40 by Tyler Brown again. Down to Taylor Davis.
Roy, I talked to both coaches at the half. Tony Gibson, defensive play caller, so obviously he stressed the defense to me, specifically his group of DBs. He said, I feel like they're playing in panic mode. They need to strain, put more pressure on the outside, but they can't play panicked. Now, for Bob Chesney, he told me the same things that have plagued us this season showed up in that first half. Defending quarterback scrambles and pass penalties. He also said when Marshall shows tempo, they've got eyes in the wrong place defensively. They had to address that to contain Carlos Del Rio Wilson.
And they're trying to contain him right here. Tracy Stevens picks up 14 as the Marshall tight end. Tyler Brown, his third tackle on this drive. All three have been enormous. And now Roberts over the left edge to the 44.
And now tempo as well. Taylor, I love that report that we heard from Chesney. When Marshall shows tempo, it seems as if James Madison is out of position. The last two plays, what have we seen? We've seen tempo. And remember, earlier in the first half, Carlos Del Rio Wilson had a wide open receiver on a delayed route, and he underthrew it. So some of this tempo stuff and some of those throwback passes, those delayed routes may show back up.
Del Rio Wilson kept it after the fake to Roberts. And go Bryra, able to stop him after a short gain. So third down, opening possession of the third quarter for Marshall after JMU had a drive stall in herd territory. After a gain of 1, it's 3rd and 5.
And in my mind, this is 2 down territory, so don't be afraid to run it if you're Carlos Del Rio Wilson. Nothing's open in a pass. You can use your legs, try to get a couple yards to go for it on 4th.
Rod Smith, the offensive play caller, working with his quarterback, Carlos Del Rio Wilson. He wants to throw it, now wants to run it. And Del Rio Wilson will be stopped about 3 yards shy, first down yardage, so 4th down for the herd, and it does feel like they want to go here.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. They're trying to make the decision on the sideline. The punt team is there discussing. And the offense is saying, okay, what do we do? Are we staying? Are we going? It looks like the punt team is going on the field and offense is going on. Offense is going off, excuse me. But don't be surprised if there's something fishy happening.
Nathan Totten trots on the field slowly. Marshall with the football at the JMU 42 and electing to punt it on 4th and 4. So a battle of punters to begin this third quarter, and the touchback means JMU gets it when we return. An interesting start, interesting decision by Tony Gibson. JMU football after this. 21-12, JMU leading Marshall here in Huntington as we take a look at more than a home team, brought to you by Cracker Barrel. And here at Jones C. Edwards Stadium, you think about some of the great pitch and catch combinations we've seen. Chad Pennington, the MAC Player of the Year, going back to the late 1990s. They started that 99 campaign with an upset win at Clemson. Byron Leftwich, two-time MAC Player of the Year on one leg. He beat teams back in the day, and a successful offensive play caller at multiple levels. Two of the all-time greats here for the Herd. And Marshall with work to do after punting the football on 4th and short. Analytics said to go for it from just outside the 40-yard line. The punt results in a touchback. Dukes want to heave one long again. Man-to-man coverage. Hauled in. Tamarez all the way to the end zone. And lightning strikes for the JMU Dukes. And it was Sanchez that hauled it in from 80.
They kept on going back to the well over and over and over again. You could tell that James Madison felt like there's a weakness in the secondary. And Jaylon Sanchez, number 0, along with Alonzo Barnett, were able to expose that weakness.
First touchdown of the season for Sanchez, the Villanova transfer. And that's one way to do it. After the Dukes get the football back, just one play. And seizing control, now leading by 16.
So there's no middle field safety. Alonzo Barnett sees that. And so see that middle field is wide open. And so Sanchez says, I'm one-on-one. Just throw it up to me. I'll be down there somewhere. And unfortunately for Caleb Clark Glover, he wasn't able to stay patient and stay calm enough in his responsibility. He's a safety. It's hard for a safety to cover a receiver. That's the matchup that you want if you're on offense. And see, you're going to see number 26, Clark Glover, just minimum try to bring him down. Even if you get beat, live to fight another down. But safety on the receiver.
Number 15 is reporting as number 48. Number 15 is reporting as number 48.
Safety on receiver is usually advantage offense.
Now what a feeling that must be to reach the end zone for the first time. A couple of seasons at Villanova. 9 touchdowns there in his career. And just 2 years ago averaged more than 25 yards per catch. And now in the FBS ranks. Surge of momentum. And Alonzo Barnett, the third, back on top.
What was your go-to celebration after you made like a game-winning field goal?
It's kind of the guns up at times.
You weren't dancing?
I wasn't doing a lot of dancing back in the day. I appreciate the question, the fair catch and the touchback. Herd will get it back. Don't forget our Week 10 Monday Night Football matchup. Jalen Hurts, the 6-2 Eagles, coming off the bye, taking on Jordan Love and the 5-2-1 Packers. It's at Lambeau Field, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, the all-new ESPN app. Peyton and Eli, of course, over on ESPN2. And our coverage kicks off. NFL Live at 3 Eastern in Green Bay. And then Scott Van Pelt and the Monday Night Countdown crew at 6 Eastern. Carlos Del Rio Wilson back on the field. 7 of 17 through the air. He's been better on the ground. And now under duress. Wasim, a great job to sense the backside pressure and escapes for a 9-yard gain.
Yeah, he wanted something deep down the field, but there was too much. It wasn't open enough, and so he decided to tuck it and run it. I think it's a good decision by Carlos Del Rio Wilson, but I like what Marshall's doing. They're going back to the hurry up and tempo. It's what helped them early.
Del Rio Wilson rips it away on the zone read. And a first down. McMullen a tackle. 4-yard gain on 2nd and 1.
We've noticed from James Madison defensively is that they're not biting on some of these either short routes or the slant and goes. They're keeping everything in front of them, which is helpful for them, but it's just challenging for Marshall to get explosive chunk plays in the passing game.
Herd down 16. Comeback. That's Tamarez. Towards the 46. And that'll move the chains.
So JMU's playing a lot of cover 3, so 3 guys deep And what cover 3 says is, hey, you can beat me underneath all you want. Nothing's going to beat me over top. And so that's almost like a safer type of coverage that they're leaning towards in this matchup.
Sam, you still don't feel like Marshall is in frantic mode just yet. Still plenty of time to work with. A dynamic quarterback. He'll float one long and incomplete. Culp looked like the receiver there for the Dukes. Instead it was Adrian Norton. Good coverage. 2nd and 10.
They're not in panic mode just yet, but they still need to find either tempo or going back to the running game. Find ways to try to slice this defense in half. The defense is playing very comfortable with James Madison. They feel like they know what's coming. So either a running play or an explosive play with tempo could help slow them down.
Toby Payne went in motion. Inside handoff back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it for Roberts. Amar Thomas. And that play well covered. 3rd and 10. JMU with 6 consecutive wins. Marshall trying to continue a trend in this series where the road team, trying to stop it rather, has won the previous 3 since JMU entered the Sun Belt in 2022. Dukes would love for that trend to continue in their own right. And on the screen, nothing doing to Ben Turner.
Another great play, great stop by Gannon Weathersby, number 3. He's a guy that flashes on tape. He's not the most consistent, if you will. Like sometimes you'll say, man, I wish you would have made that play. But man, when number 3 is on, he's on. We've seen right around 10 tackles so far, a couple tackles for loss. So number 3, Gannon Weathersby, is showing off.
Hurd didn't go for it on 4th and 3. Deeper in JMU territory moments ago. They won't go for it. At least the initial indication on 4th and 8 from midfield here. And now they will. Here comes the throw. Wide open. And it's caught. Past the line to gain.
So we talked about special sauce. I thought this fake was going to happen the play before. I said, okay, think about something fishy. Well, now they show it up right there. So it's going to be a fake. The snapper snaps it, and then he's able to get a touchdown. Gavin Magorian, unbelievable job snapping the ball and still able to receive it.
Something felt fishy on one of those 2 4th down plays. You sensed it on that first 4th and 3, and that time it just kind of felt like Marshall needs a spark. Maybe they found it.
And now they need to take a shot to the end zone. Take that momentum and get even more.
First charge timeout, Marshall, 30 seconds.
Tony Gibson rolling the dice, and a fake punt works to perfection. Hurd have it after this.
decides to do something tricky, run a fake punt. Notice those two receivers are off the line of scrimmage, so long snapper Gavin McGorian is an eligible receiver wearing number 46, but it takes two to tango. Punter Nathan Totten throws a dime or a dart for a punter. That's a good pass to get a first down. Critical play at a critical juncture in this game.
Felt like a dime on 4th down, the fake punt, and Totten, sophomore, just across the river in Ashland, Kentucky, dragged down. Boy, it felt like for a moment that could have been a face mask by Emmanuel Bush. No penalty marker. Officials have a better angle than we did. And Carlos Del Rio Wilson is going to lose a yard.
Yeah, Emmanuel Bush is 6'1", 348 pounds. He's a huge human being, and he's one of the stalwarts of this defense. So he's going to have to be able to create more havoc to keep some of this momentum off of Marshall.
And the Marshall transfer for JMU. Another big play for the Herd. Again on the ground, it's Antoine Roberts. Well, they found something with number 44, a career performance. Their last game against Coastal Carolina, 20 more yards here.
And what I saw is number 5, Trent Hendrick, the leader of this defense. He actually jumps out of a block and unfortunately is able to make the play. And number 7, Jacob Thomas, their other leader, misses the tackle. So two of the best players on James Madison defense weren't able to make the play.
Back to work for the Herd. Roberts to the edge. Upended at the 10. Close to another first down.
We talked about it earlier, Roy. We said, how do you try to slice open or divide this defense in half? Sometimes it's the big-time shot plays, or maybe it's just running it right at them. The strength of JMU is the inside. Marshall doesn't care.
On 2nd down, Del Rio Wilson the option. That's a first. It'll be 1st and goal for the Herd. JMU has not given up a single point in the second half since September. Marshall would love to change that right here.
Last 4 games haven't given up a point, outscoring opponents 90-0. People say that records are meant to be broken. Well, let's see if that's going to change now.
Del Rio Wilson stacked up. He'll cross the 5. Kept the legs churning. And Tyler Brown on the wrong end of that collision. 2nd and goal coming from the 4.
And I wonder now, Roy, if instead of being so physical, like I'm going to run you over and run you over and run you over, what if Marshall decides to do a pop pass, fake an inside run, and throw it over the top to a tight end? The mindset of a defender in this situation is, I've got to keep them out the end zone. They're at the 5-yard line. Play into that same mindset. Let them run up at the field and then throw it over the top of their heads.
Herd approaching 200 yards rushing. That's got to please Tony Gibson, his first season here in his home state of West Virginia as the head coach. On the jet sweep, a stutter step, and Floyd Lacey will be stopped at the line. 3rd down and goal.
The more that Marshall continues to run, the more that pop pass play will become open. And that's when I say pop pass, meaning fake a run and then throw it over the top to the tight end. They're running laterally, they're running vertically, they're running all different kinds of ways, and James Madison is just making the play, making big-time stops. They're being aggressive. That's what their identity is. Play into some of that aggression if you're Marshall and try to get it over to the top of their head. This is the same formation they just had.
Down by 16. You wonder, it's 4-down territory. Del Rio Wilson wants to throw it into traffic, and across the goal line is Tracy Stevens. Tracy Stevens caught his first pass of the season earlier here in our 3rd quarter. How about his first touchdown moments later? And the Herd set to go for 2 to make it a 1-score affair.
So a situation like this, it's almost the same as what had just happened. You don't going for 2. You don't feel like you have to run the football. The run game was not working. James Madison is too good stopping the run. So a couple options. One potential is a shovel pass. You start going one way and you kind of shovel it inside. Another potential option is something to the flat. If you run out to the flat and then you run one of those routes where essentially the receiver runs simply to the pylon, called a pylon play. So those are the 2 things that I think about for Marshall.
Play clock winding down quickly here.
Yeah, but they reset it. So now Marshall has an opportunity for some of those plays. James Madison has to play tight.
Del Rio Wilson back to the air, off the back foot, wide open. Tamarez. And it's a 1-score game in Huntington. Sam, it was all set up. 4th and 8 from midfield. The fake punt was called. It was executed beautifully by Nathan Totten and his long snapper, Gavin Magorian. And here we are moments later. The touchdown and the 2-point conversion.
Well, it started off with the run. You're trying to bludgeon and bludgeon and bludgeon. Tony Gibson said we're going to be physical. That's been the mentality. The defense feels that. So all of a sudden, it looks like a run. The ball's in the belly of the quarterback. And then you were able to thread that ball through the needle to tight end Tracy Stevens. This is a very difficult pass. There's so many bodies, the massive humanity within there. But Stevens uses his size to get that pass. And then now, you have that throwback to Tamarez. Everything's looking like it's going to the right. Del Rio Wilson's eyes are to the right. And at the very last moment, he throws it back to Tamarez on the left side.
Carlos Del Rio Wilson emerging for the herd. And a one-score game, 1:04 to go. And now JMU gets the football back. An emotional weekend in Huntington to play for the 75 game. Marshall's way of remembering and honoring all the 75 lives that were lost in the crash in November of 1970, including players, coaches, boosters, administrators. And you could feel it stepping foot on campus yesterday, in the stadium today. Pre-game tributes and what we witness in our first half, Sam. This community unites once again after that terrible tragedy 55 years ago. Gain of 9 by Wayne Knight.
Talk to people around this Marshall community. They say, man, something weird always happens in a situation like this. Like something, the word that they used was magical. Maybe that fake punt led to something to be able to create some momentum for Marshall. Now, James Madison, on the other hand, they're trying to put an end to that magic. They don't want that sorcery in here.
On 2nd down, Knight against the grain picks up the first on what could be the final play of an eventful 3rd quarter.
I don't know if you feel this way, Roy, but it feels as if Marshall wants to get a win, they're going to have to take the ball away from JMU. JMU's been extremely efficient and consistent, but I think that's the only way they can get a chance going into
This is the end of the 3rd quarter.
The lead at 8 here in Huntington. 15 minutes to go in the Sun Belt.
Marshall to make this a one-possession game. 1 quarter to go. How do you close it with a win?
Yeah, you stop that ground game, especially at quarterback run. And I think at some point when they throw it up, we just got to make sure we're sticky in coverage. Guys are doing a good job. It's just a miscommunication down there on a 2-point play and leave a guy wide open. Just can't do it. But we'll be playing better football here in the 4th.
I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Taylor, thank you. 15 minutes to go. 1-score game in Huntington. First down for the Dukes. Barnett feeling the pressure, and down he goes. All the way back at the 29-yard line, Paul Hudson III. A rude introduction and a loss of 7.
And it wasn't just Hudson. It was also number 0, Cam Smith, with the pressure. There's 7 guys in protection. Tight ends are there to block. Then they go out to receive. They're not there to block. And so the pressure comes at a perfect time. You think those tight ends are sitting to protect Barnett, but no, they release, and the pressure is timed perfectly by Marshall.
Crowd is in it on 2nd and long. And the slant corralled, crossing the 35. George Pettaway, reserve running back. 6th catch of the season. Boogie Trotter tackled him quickly. 3rd down and long. JMU, one of the favorites to reach the college football playoff out of the group of 5 in 2025. A lot at stake in the Sun Belt this afternoon. Hurd showing pressure. Here they come. Barnett had the ball tipped, and it's caught. Paul Hudson III. Hit hard, but the turnover, and the Herd will take over. Penalty flag flies in, and momentum has shifted. Sam, it was Boogie Trotter off the blitz. He's known for his interceptions this season. He leads the country in that category.
The benefit about
The result of the play is an interception by the defense. Personal foul, targeting with the crown of the helmet. Original offense. 68. That play is under video review.
So Boogie Trotter's known for his coverage, but watch him, number 1, he's going to come off the pressure. Watch him attack the hand of Alonzo Barnett. He doesn't go for the sack. He goes for the football. This game is all about the ball. And so Trotter gets that hand, and then Paul Hudson III, he's a defensive end. He's a defensive end, gets that interception. Then now they're looking at Trent Wilson, number 68, for that targeting call. So it looks like a high, let's see if it's a high hit to the head or neck area. Hudson's not defenseless, so this is gonna have to be targeting with the crown of the helmet. Right, so there's 2 different targetings, right? One is if it's a defenseless receiver or quarterback in a passing posture. Then targeting can be any forcible contact to the head or neck area. Forcible contact with an indicator, leading with the head with that defenseless player. But if you're not defenseless, which Hudson wasn't, then targeting has to be with the crown of the helmet, meaning you have to lower your head, which Wilson does, and then makes forcible contact to the head or neck area. A different angle might show if that's more towards the neck, is that the clavicle? Like, that's what they're looking at. That's what the referees are trying to decide. The head does lower, right? They talk about the crown of the helmet. And then is that the shoulder, or is that the head or neck area? That's what's trying to be determined.
Replay will determine if that call ends up being upheld. You called for the takeaway. That's what happened. Marshall's going to get the football one way or another. And Boogie Trotter, the shortest man on the field, leads America with 6 picks this season, creates a play with his pressure off the edge, attacking the quarterback, Barnett.
We had Boogie Trotter as one of our impact players, and I was kind of hesitating because I'm like, man, they're probably not going to target him, right? 5 picks on the season, tied for the lead in the nation. 2 pick sixes, tied for the lead. But he shows up in other ways. He shows up in the running game as a tackler. He shows up.
After video review, there is no targeting on the play. Number 68 may remain in the game. First down, Marshall.
So let's start with the targeting. Let's start there. So here's what was seen. It's not a defenseless player. Paul Hudson, he's a runner. So boom, Boogie Trotter, and then the interception, and now he's a runner. You're not defenseless. So that forcible contact is not to the head or neck area. It's more to the shoulder, though that head was lower. And also it was more of a forearm as well. So that's kind of part A. Part B, though, going back to Trotter, is that even if you're not targeted, let's say you're a receiver, you're like, I can't get the ball, or a DB, he continues to make plays. And he continues to prove why he's so versatile as a player.
Lloyd Lacy went in motion. Del Rio Wilson faked it on the jet sweep. Still on his feet. Tackled out of bounds at the 21. Carlos Del Rio Wilson, the power to keep that play alive, and a gain of 22 on first down.
They were saying, man, this 75-game players are playing for something so much more, including Carlos Del Rio Wilson. You thought it was going to be a tackle, a spin move. He press circle, then he stays on his feet. This is when that momentum starts to shift.
The Herd with 219 rush yards. That is a season high against the Duke's defense. And counting. Tyler Brown tackles Antoine Roberts, who's now also over 100 yards. And the drive in full swing for the Herd.
Going back to that tempo we heard from Taylor earlier.
And Roberts probing the left edge. On second and short, picks up the first.
Taylor, you made that point about halftime, saying we got to get to that tempo. That's what was hurting Bob Chesney and this JMU team. And now we're seeing Marshall do it. They're going fast and keeping the defense on their heels.
Same thing with the quarterback run game. It's exactly what he pointed out as having been a detriment in the past. It's getting them here too.
230 yards on the ground, led by Del Rio Wilson and Antoine Roberts. JMU on its heels. Roberts again, and lassoed at the line by McMullen, Michael McMullen. It'll be second and goal from the 10.
I'm not sure how most people feel about this, but when you're at first and goal from like all the way back at the 10-yard line, to me that's got to be one of the most difficult positions to be in, because if you're first and goal from the 2 or the 3, you have 4 plays to get 2 or 3 yards, maybe the 5, but now you're all the way back at the 10, so it's almost like you got to get the entire 10 yards for the first down, which is also the touchdown.
Joshawn Barbie in at running back. Del Rio Wilson will fake the toss to the 5. It'll be third and goal from there.
They're pulling at that ball, Roy Philpott. That James Madison defense, every time that Del Rio Wilson runs it, they're pulling at it. If I'm JMU, I'm expecting pass. If I'm Marshall, I think you have to take 2 shots to the end zone. I don't know if I trust running the ball right now.
You have 2 downs to score the touchdown, trailing by 8. Still a lot of time left, but you doubt Tony Gibson would kick a field goal as he loses a lot of yards here. And he won't. Del Rio Wilson driven backwards. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Gobira right there in his grill. And now let's see.
They look like they're bringing the field goal team on. I don't hate it. I don't hate this decision at all. Right now, it's an 8-point game, meaning even if you score and get a 2-point conversion, you're still tied. You wouldn't be leading. But if you make this field goal, it goes into a position where the touchdown can win it for you. So Tony Gibson, defensive-minded coach, he's the guy who's always going to take the points.
And to your point, Sam, if you score the touchdown somehow on 4th and goal from the 5, you still have to get the 2-point conversion to tie it. That is far from a guarantee. But here we are, 28-23, 10-15 to go. Tony Gibson's team in position at home.
Swipe for news and highlights. Now available on the ESPN app.
ESPN College Football presented by Tums, a brand new game in Huntington. Just over 10 minutes to go. And the lead at 5 for JMU against the Marshall Thundering Herd. They play for the 75 game. What a comeback this has been for Marshall to get back in it as we take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings. Brought to you by Allstate. Iteration 2 headed your way Tuesday night. And the top 12 as they stand now, according to the committee. What catches your eye here, Sam?
And bye-bye BYU. They're undefeated no longer. They're down 26-0, or at least it looks like no longer. That's the biggest thing that stands out to me. BYU and Texas Tech, 2 Big 12 teams in the top 12. Utah sitting there at 13. But with this blowout loss, that hurts the Big 12 and specifically BYU.
Bulldogs versus Bulldogs. A lot of folks thought that would be close in Starkville. Gunnar Stockton said, not today. JMU gets it back. Wayne Knight bottled up by Kaba. So the TFL, and you translate everything we just talked about into the group of 5. And JMU with a 29% chance to crash the college football playoff party this winter. But the Dukes have to win today, run the table, claim the Sun Belt crown to make it happen. And of course, we are also watching what goes down in the American, South Florida and North Texas in particular.
And the reason why is South Florida has a 35% is because they have impressive wins on their resume. Boise State, Miami.
Barnett the third. Tries to escape and cannot. He's just 4 for his last 12. Back to close to the original line of scrimmage there with the scramble. Give him a gain of 3, and just like that, Sam, it's 3rd down and long again.
You can feel the crowd starting to get into it.
Second charge timeout. Marshall, 30 seconds.
Herd will utilize their second timeout of the half. Some personnel issues for Tony Gibson's team on defense.
Yeah, you can see how frustrated he is, but as frustrated as he is, this is a great opportunity for Tony Gibson, the former NC State defensive coordinator, to get his defense's mindset correct. Now, going back to this James Madison opportunity, I was talking about South Florida. They have an impressive win versus Boise and Florida, but an embarrassing loss versus Miami. That embarrassing loss, though, has kind of been offset because they're doing so well. James Madison, on the other hand, they have to find ways to win in an impressive fashion because they don't have that impressive of a resume as some of the other teams that are vying for an opportunity in the college football playoff.
A lot of football left to be played. Anything can happen. Mathematically, this team is on the verge, and Tony Gibson told us yesterday, my goal here is to get our team, the Thundering Herd, into the playoff. It won't happen this year, but this could be a springboard into bigger and better things. Marshall finds a way to come all the way back today. Out of the timeout on 3rd and long. Barnett the third has a man. Oh, and it's incomplete. It came out late. Sanchez was turning around. Cam Smith was in his face. And the ball popped out as he came down to the turf.
It looked like Sanchez was going to find a way to come down with that. But Cam Smith, number 0 on defense, was out of position. And that ball just barely bounces out the hands of Sanchez.
A 3-and-out force by the Marshall defense. And momentum clearly on the side of the Herd. Here's Floyd Lacey. Off the bounce. On his feet. And Lacey to the 25. After a punt of 61 yards, a return of 10. Marshall gets the ball back, trailing by 5, 8:38 to go. 8:38 to go back in Huntington. JMU with a 5-point lead. And let's remind you how we got here just over 16 minutes ago. 4th and 8. Here comes the fake punt. Nathan Totten to his long snapper Gavin McGorian. Moments later, the touchdown by the Herd to make it a one-score game after the 2-point conversion, Sam. And here comes Marshall, the play for the 75 game. Boogie Trotter forcing an interception, a field goal moments later. And we have a ball game that is coming down to the wire at Jones C. Edwards Stadium.
See all that positive momentum by Marshall. But let's not forget there was a wide open touchdown drop by James Madison, so it's going in both directions.
Off the jet sweep, Floyd Lacey. It looked as if he was banged up on that punt return moments ago. Now A-OK across the 30, a good gain on first.
James Madison defensively allows 80.3 rush yards per game. Marshall right now has tripled that. They're over 240 rushing yards so far. They are the physically dominant team today.
A lot of teams and their fan bases tuning into this game, rooting against JMU. One of the favorites out of the group of 5 to reach the college football playoff. What a story it would be, and a comeback story at that for the Herd. Toby Payne, another grab, and the tight end picks up a first.
Toby Payne, from not too far from here, decided to stay, and he's one of the captains of this team. That was a critical catch.
Herd back to work quickly. Play action, slant, and it is incomplete. Grab for a moment by Lacey. And it was popped out at the last minute under duress with Tyler Brown.
Yeah, number 13, Tyler Brown, number 32, DJ Barksdale. They meet at the football. So you're going to see Floyd Lacey get the catch almost, but then, man, you start hearing people talk about hearing footsteps. That's kind of what happens. Man, I know I'm going to get a catch, but, man, these DBs, these safeties are coming. So Tyler Brown, number 13, helped make that play.
They'll set up the screen. Lacey grabs it and is met with resistance right away. Amar Thomas. It'll be 3rd down and long, and Thomas was ready and waiting.
Talk about momentum shifters. Okay, Marshall has all the momentum, and James Madison is a defender. You're saying, okay, I don't care about your momentum. All I need to do is do my job and make one play, a tackle or a tackle for loss or a sack. That all of a sudden gets this field back to a level playing field.
3rd down and 10. Duke showing pressure, one of the top defenses in America. 8th nationally coming in total D. Big moment for Carlos Del Rio Wilson. Off the back foot, man-to-man coverage, and incomplete. He overshot his intended target. Adrian Norton was going to break free, but the pressure came in again from Gannon Weathersby.
And he's had himself a day. That's number 3, one of the linebackers who gets to Carlos Del Rio Wilson. There's going to be a corner blitz, but it's not just the blitz. It's Weathersby gets there before the blitz. He beats the person in front of him and gets pressure on the quarterback to keep that ball from being completed.
And Sam, I thought he did a great job of holding up on that contact with the quarterback to not put the officials in that decision-making mode to throw a penalty flag. Pressure was there. He got his point across. Wayne Knight retreats into the end zone for the touchback. Under 7 minutes to go after a punt of 63. JMU football after the timeout. Kevin and Trevor, there's something about that interim coach bump that happens after taking over. That particular team seems to play better, at least for a game or two. And for Penn State, weeks after the firing of James Franklin, the Nittany Lions in position. Meanwhile, JMU gets the football back here in Huntington, protecting a 5-point lead. Alonzo Barnett III rumbles over the right side for a short gain. And this JMU offense, Sam, has been going in reverse for most of the second half.
They've been stalled really the last 3 or 4 series. They had so many explosive plays. But ever since that wide open drop touchdown pass, either Marshall has gotten more stout or James Madison has gotten a little bit tighter. There's still opportunities down the field, but they haven't been able to convert on some of their deep passes.
The only big play of the second half, the 80-yard touchdown to Jaylon Sanchez. That's been about it. Barnett waiting for the blockers, and they do not come. Shoved backwards. Tyus Martin, 3rd down. JMU just 130 yards in the second half, 80 coming on that touchdown strike, and that's it.
Tony Gibson, head coach / defensive play caller, got to love this.
They'll show a 4-man pressure. Here they come. Barnett coming from the backside, tripped up, and he dives to the 25, and that's it. Javay Gilmore, here comes a flag, and wait 1 second.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 14. The penalty will be enforced after distance to the goal line. The down counts. It's 4th down. This is number 14's first unsportsmanlike conduct in the game.
So it starts with the shoestring tackle by Javay Gilmore. I mean, there was nobody in the middle of the field. That shoe was able to trip him up. And then Alonzo Barnett gets called for this unsportsmanlike conduct call. It's going to be a big-time field position shift for the team.
Punt team on the field. The last 3 JMU possessions. Interception, 3 and out, 3 and out. And the herd with Floyd Lacey standing at midfield. Should have outstanding field position. And it will. 3:30 Eastern, ABC, the place to be in the all-new ESPN app. Undefeated Texas A&M, ranked number 3, travels to Columbia, Missouri to tangle the number 22 Missouri Tigers. And in primetime at 7:30 Eastern, 4th-ranked Bama hosting LSU in Tuscaloosa. Now playoff implications around America today, including here in Huntington. JMU in position to make a run at the Sun Belt Championship and perhaps the CFP. The Dukes can ill afford a loss today. And now Marshall will get the football back, Sam, 53 yards away from its first lead of the game. And Roberts tumbles into JMU territory. Down to Taylor.
Well, to be expected, guys. This 4th quarter has been electric down here on the Marshall sideline. The crowd really getting involved as well. And keep in mind, in this game last year, Marshall trailed by 17 points. Ultimately came back and won in double overtime. Offensive lineman Jalen Slappy started in that game. He told me it's a will to win. It's what our program stands for every day, but especially the 75 game, guys.
And Taylor, how big was that victory in the march to the Sun Belt East Championship to make it to the title game? Marshall ended up winning the conference championship last year under former head coach Charles Huff. And that comeback win against the Dukes, one for the ages, and now trying to duplicate history again with Jalen Slappy, who's had opportunities to go somewhere else into the Power 4. He wanted to stay here in Huntington. And on 3rd and 3, Antoine Roberts will be stopped after just a 1-yard gain. So about 4th and less than 2. Under 4 to play, Sam, what do you do?
Well, so James Madison on the sideline, their coaching staff is putting their hands over their ears saying earmuffs, earmuffs, meaning Marshall should do a hard count right now. Try to force JMU to jump off sides. Hut, hut. And if that doesn't work, then you're able to run whatever play that you want to run.
Only one timeout remaining for head coach Tony Gibson. That also becomes a factor. On 4th and 2, out of the gun, Roberts over the right side, and JMU stopped him dead in his tracks right there. And the Duke's defense with a massive stand.
Talk about ways to try to slow down momentum. As a defender, you don't care about that. You say, all I need to do is make one play. So watch here. You're going to see the right side of the formation is just collapsed. You see number 70 for Marshall, Jalen Slappy. He's stepping in at right tackle because their starting right tackle, Christian Richter, got injured.
And 17 seconds, please.
So he moves out to right tackle. But the defense, they were just refused to be denied. James Madison had to make that play, and they just collapsed the entire right side of the line of scrimmage.
The 2-minute timeout and one more pause for Marshall with the one timeout on its slate down the stretch. And for JMU, it becomes a mathematical game. You're able to grind the clock with a first down or two, and this game will end the victory for the Dukes. Their 7th in a row, and their playoff hopes remain intact. And Sam, it has not been easy today.
It has not. You saw on your screen a second ago, Terry Lockett Jr., number 90, made that stop. But now it's on the offense. The offense for James Madison has to be able to finish this game. They've been stalled the entire second half, minus that one big play. This is where you finish.
Jordan Fuller, the running back, 229 pounds, the 5th-year senior. Began his career at Holy Cross with his head coach, Bob Chesney. Was stopped by Jalen Parker, and Marshall not electing to utilize the timeout here on 2nd and 9.
Remember, they only have one timeout. Why? Because they used one of their timeouts after that fake punt where they didn't have to. So only one timeout could prove critical. Marshall would expect the run. If I'm James Madison, continue to hand it off to make sure that clock runs down.
Sanchez lines up in the slot, caught his first touchdown the season for JMU earlier in this second half. Barnett to the perimeter, stays in bounds and will push his way across midfield. Parker a tackle, and now it's going to be 3rd down and short.
Charge timeout, Marshall.
Yeah, smart play by Alonzo Barnett, making sure he's stayed in bounds to force that last timeout to be used. And now James Madison will have a 5-point lead. They only had one loss.
That only loss coming way back in week 2 at Louisville. And the Dukes, with then quarterback Matthew Sluka, taking the lead in the second half before Chris Bell happens. And that's happened frequently this year for Louisville opponents. That tied the game at 14. And then the Louisville defense taking over. The strip sack recovered in the end zone before Isaac Brown put the icing on the cake for the Cards. And Louisville currently ranked number 15, Sam. That loss was a lot closer than the score indicated, but it speaks to what JMU is capable of to be able to have that game as close as it was and a second half lead as close as that was.
And if Louisville continues to win, all of a sudden that will look better on JMU's resume, because the committee will go back and look at that game and say, okay, Louisville right now a top 15 team. Let's say they continue to win. Let's say they're a top 10 team. Now, all of a sudden, if James Madison continues to win, that loss looks so much better on their resume.
A first down here could essentially end it with Marshall out of timeouts and only the 2-minute stoppage to go. Third and 3. Back the other way against the grain to Wayne Knight. It's a first down and a lot more. Wayne Knight into the end zone, and JMU extending the lead. Well, Sam, we've seen many times in a situation like that, Wayne Knight could have stopped short of the goal line. And you look at some of the percentages in play in a moment like that, they would indicate that that would be the right call to make. Instead, it's into the end zone, the lead at 11 with 2:18 to go.
So I like the play call. Wayne Knight, 5'7", 190, he gets lost. I think he should have gone down, because if you go down, all of a sudden you can just take a knee and the game is over. But now you give Marshall an opportunity to get the ball to score and then kick an onside kick and score again. You could see he was thinking about it. You could see he was like, man, do I go in? Do I stay? What do I do? I would have loved for him to just slide down at the 1 yard line and take a knee. But still, this is a critical play. He's on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, and the defense gets fools. He catches the ball. That's number one. And then he's trying to say, okay, what do I stay? Do I go? Do I? And he decides to get to the end zone.
Football in 2025 instructs you to get down before scoring, and the game is essentially over. It's a long shot for Marshall to try to complete a comeback here. Don't let that overshadow the day that Wayne Knight has enjoyed. He's one of the top all-purpose backs in America. We mentioned the Paul Hornung Award list. He's a finalist, one of just 6 players. And those numbers tell the story. It's not only on the ground, it's through the air.
And Wayne Knight has been electric for this offense, but now it's time for the defense to step up. You have a 12-point lead, so they need 2 touchdowns to win it. And defensively, you have to know they're going to try and get a chunk play.
Five yards deep. Out comes Turner Bradshaw. They need a big play. They won't get it here. Coming up tonight, a star-studded West Coast NBA on ESPN matchup. About Devin Booker and the Suns playing the back end of a home-and-home against LA. James Harden, Los Angeles Clippers, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific after college football. NBA Countdown crew tips off our coverage at 10 p.m. and 7 o'clock Pacific, both also available on the all-new ESPN app.
Shaq and Chuck and them are a lot of fun to watch.
It is enjoyable. Welcome addition to the ESPN family. And Barnett, the game he has put together again for the Dukes. Herb get it back on the slant. Incomplete. DJ Barksdale on Floyd Lacey, and he punched it out.
So I don't feel like you have to pass it in this situation. I know it's hurry-up tempo, but you could run the ball because the clock's going to stop at the 2-minute timeout. But after that, it's going to be pretty much all pass.
See Del Rio Wilson's day. 77 yards on the ground and 21 carries. JMU trying to end this as quickly as possible. Del Rio Wilson. Clock will stop as he's able to get out of bounds at the 22.
And now's the
third
time,
down from there.
Now's the time, if I'm Marshall, where I would run the ball to try to get that first down.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout, trailing by 12. Marshall has it on the other side.
ESPN College Football is presented by Tums Fast Heartburn Relief, so you can love food back.
Philpott Taylor Davis. 12-point lead. James Madison, the Dukes, trying to win their 7th game in a row. Marshall has it, 3rd down and 6. And the completion to Lacey. He'll get out of bounds. It will stop the clock to move the chains. An 11-yard pickup.
Time is of the essence, not just because you have to score once, but because you have to score twice. So everything should be thinking get out of bounds. I understand that 1st down stops the clock for the chain to be reset, but I would think out of bounds more.
Barbie, the running back. Marshall has got to go, needs a big play or 2 or 3, and incomplete to Norton on the deep crossing pattern near the 45. Well, the Sun Belt standings, we have 2 divisions. JMU in a great spot in the Sun Belt East. You see Marshall on the verge of falling to 2 and 3. In the West, a familiar name for Marshall fans, Charles Huff, the head coach this year at Southern Miss, and many of the former Herd players making their way down to Hattiesburg, including Braylon Braxton. They're undefeated at 4-0 in the league, 6 and 2, and you wonder, could it be a collision course for the Dukes, the Golden Eagles, USM later. We get towards December. Back for it, Tamarez will pick up the 1st down.
And JMU would want to hope that Southern Miss continues to win. Maybe a 2-loss Southern Miss team that makes that championship could help bolster their opportunity for a college football playoff if they make it.
You look at the top 3 teams out of the group of 5. Another pass batted down at the line. 4th time today that's happened. Zaire West. It's JMU, South Florida, and North Texas representing the 3 best opportunities for the group of 5 as it's currently constructed. That is subject to change. We saw Tulane win at Memphis last night. That started to shift some of those percentages around for those 2 teams. And Sam, I know you and I have been very impressed, and you've talked about it with our crew the last week or so. South Florida and Alex Golish. It's a team with a win in the swamp this year. They still have some work to do to try to close it out, and JMU's going to be standing right in front of them. Xavion Turner-Bradshaw keeps this Marshall drive alive, and hope still alive for the Herd.
We talked about South Florida, but let's not forget about North Texas. They probably have the easiest path when it comes to an opportunity to get into a championship game in the American. So North Texas could be a team with only 1 loss that people are looking at as well.
They looked great last week in the win against Navy. Del Rio Wilson wants it all. Pass will be caught. And the tap dance along the sidelines. So wait 1 second now. Marshall in scoring position. Jacoby Baldwin. It'll be 1st down and goal for the Herd.
We talked about getting out of bounds. That saves you the time, but also getting in the end zone. So right now, you don't have time to do anything but throw it to the end zone. Because if you get a chance to score, if you're Marshall, then you'll have a chance to work an onside kick. But see, getting out of bounds, that clock is stopped. If it would have just been a 1st down, that clock would have started running after the chains were set.
Gain of 24, 1st and goal. Pause the JMU conversation with the Herd threatening again. This team has not given up. Towards the back corner and out of bounds. Xavion Turner-Bradshaw was trying to break open. He could not.
Every second that takes off the clock is a benefit for JMU and a problem for Marshall. You want to get in the end zone, but all these 5-second, 7-second, 10-second plays makes it harder and harder for that second opportunity.
Now, chaos ensuing around college football in this early window. Marshall would love to join that party. Some kind of crazy comeback of its own. Del Rio Wilson. And the ball popped out of Toby Payne's hands. They're going to say it's incomplete.
It's a benefit for Marshall because that wouldn't have been a touchdown. The clock would have continued to run. So that incomplete pass is actually to Marshall's benefit. JMU has been great in the red zone. They've held teams to field goals or really turnovers. So they got to essentially continue to play tight. But Marshall, nothing to the back of the end zone has worked. Maybe something towards the front of that end zone could be beneficial like they had a couple plays ago.
Judah Price, the running back on 3rd and goal. Del Rio Wilson off the back foot and incomplete. And the pressure was coming straight through the A-gap. Jacob Thomas. It'll be 4th and goal. So it all comes down to this for Marshall. 1:02 to go, out of timeouts. And JMU a stop away from winning its 7th game in a row. Herder 2 for 3 on 4th down today. And Bob Chesney ran down the sidelines to call the timeout.
First charge timeout, James Madison. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 2 seconds. 1:02 on the game clock, please.
Love that timeout by Chesney. Now he knows what the Marshall team was going to try to do, and now you make them go into their second play.
We mentioned this at the top of the show. South Florida, North Texas, out of the American currently. Our friends at ESPN Analytics, the highest percentage to reach the CFP. James Madison at number 3 at 29%, and that'll be bumped up a couple of notches with a win here today that the Dukes absolutely had to have. You have Tulane and San Diego State, which has a couple of impressive wins on its resume this year versus the Power 4. Also a part, and we'll see some other teams. If Navy were to upset Notre Dame today, that certainly would shift some things for Blake Horvath and company.
That probably helped the North Texas team that just beat Navy not too long ago. So North Texas, their path looks relatively clear. South Florida has a tough path, but man, they have some impressive wins. And James Madison, they need to continue to not only win, but win in an impressive fashion.
On 4th and goal, Del Rio Wilson. It's gonna be sacked all the way back at the 18. Gobira was able to get there first in a race to the quarterback. And JMU, Sam, there were some moments today where it did not look like it was going to happen, but that 4th down stop just 8 minutes ago was critical, and the Dukes, the 12-point lead, will hold on in Huntington.
Yeah, Aiden Gobira waves bye-bye. Remember, Jalen Slappy, starting guard, moves to tackle, so you have a backup guard in there, and Aiden Gobira is going to eat against the backup guard.
Yeah, the offense back on the field, including Wayne Knight, who serves as the last line of defense. And for JMU, one more snap of the football. The chances of reaching the CFP now up to 35%, Sam.
And look, it's also best among the group of 5 teams, so that 35 is going to jump up above South Florida and North Texas.
One more snap, and that's going to do it. How about Wayne Knight? The 6th FBS player this season. The reception for a touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and 75 receiving yards and rushing yards in the same game. And the first player for JMU in 30 seasons to go over 75 rushing and receiving in the same contest. And for Bob Chesney, big win on the road. It's never going to be easy this month in November, but the Dukes find a way to get the job done.
And it's led by number 14, that guy you see on your screen, Alonzo Barnett. He's efficient, he's a leader, cerebral, big-time reason that this James Madison team is knocking on the door of a college football playoff opportunity.
Dukes are now 8-1 on the season, 6-0, remaining perfect in the Sun Belt. Marshall falls to 4-5 and 2-3 in the league. The Dukes get it done after a fast start. And listen, Marshall, this is a team under a first-year head coach, Tony Gibson. They did not give up, as you would expect. An emotional weekend. We talked about today, Sam, played for the 75. They showed up and had a chance.
They did, but James Madison is now looking to stay dialed in and stay focused on the next opponent as their opportunities are coming very, very soon.
Big win for the Dukes and Wayne Knight. Our final score, 35-23. Let's send you on to our next game, Kansas and Arizona in the Big 12. Mike Monaco, Kirk Morrison, Don Davenport.